So I was sleeping, like a normal person at a normal hour, when the most blood-curdling scream ripped through the night and woke me up. I rolled over, mildly annoyed, and went back to sleep. Little did I know, a whole soap opera was unfolding next door, at the brigade captain's house. Let me piece together what happened, because this is too good. Apparently, Kang Sisi, the woman who arrived with the Liu family and got assigned to the cow shed, couldn't handle sleeping on a straw mat. Too bumpy. Too scratchy. Red marks everywhere. Princess and the P vibes, except the princess is scheming and the P is her entire personality. So, what does she do at midnight? She sneaks over to the brigade captain's house because, surprise, his wife, Xiaoyi, is her maternal aunt. She's had this card up her sleeve the whole time, but didn't play it in front of everyone earlier because she wanted a private audience.
Strategic.
Manipulative. Classic Kang Sisi. She dropped to her knees at the door like she was auditioning for a historical drama. Auntie. It's me.
Sisi?
Don't you recognize me? Tears. Sobbing. Full waterworks. Oscar caliber. Sure, Xiaoyi hadn't seen this girl since she was 7 or 8, back when Kang Sisi's birth mother was apparently treating her terribly before she ran away and got rescued by the Liu family. So Auntie's heart was melting. They brought her inside, caught up on family matters. Kang Sisi dropped the bomb that her mother died 2 months ago. More tears from Xiaoyi. Then Xiaoyi turned to her husband, Brigade Captain Li Guozheng, with the most audacious request. Honey, can't you just tell the Jiang family to move back to the old grass shack and give their house to Sisi's family? I'm sorry, what? Kick us out of the house we were assigned fair and square, so your niece can upgrade from the cowshed? Because your husband has a title, the brigade captain, to his eternal credit, shut that down immediately. Are you out of your mind? There's such a thing as first come, first served. You want me to abuse my position to bully the Jiang family? I won't do it. Thank you, sir. A government official with actual principles.
They do exist.
But Xiaoyi wasn't done. What's the big deal? You're so obsessed with face. Being married to you is suffocating. Can't even help my own family. Besides, Sisi's husband was a military officer. He might get reinstated someday, and then we'd benefit. The Jiang family is just a bunch of women. What are you scared of, ma'am? Just a bunch of women. I will remember that comment. Filed permanently under things that will age poorly. The brigade captain wasn't budging. You don't understand how things work, so Xiaoyi pivoted. Fine, then let Sisi's family squeeze in with us. This is when things got spicy. Their daughter-in-law Jiang Ruochu, very pregnant, very cranky, very done with everything, waddled out from the West Room to shut this down. Mom, why would we let strangers into our house? They're exiled people. We don't know what they did. You just want to invite criminals into our home. Valid points, honestly. Delivered with the energy of a woman who is 9 months pregnant and has been woken up at midnight for family drama she didn't sign up for. Then, and here's where it gets dark, a pebble, mysteriously, rolled under Jiang Ruochu's foot and she slipped. Hard. The scream that woke me up? That was it. A pregnant woman hitting the ground. Now, everyone thought Kang Sisi grabbed Jiang Ruochu to save her from a worse fall. Hero moment, right?
Wrong.
Kang Sisi kicked that pebble on purpose. She did it deliberately, because in her past life, she hated Jiang Ruochu for blocking Xiaoyi's favoritism. This woman tried to make a pregnant woman fall on her stomach. Over a housing dispute, Jiang Ruochu was lucky. She's young and quick enough that she caught herself on her legs instead of her belly. But both her knees were destroyed. Skin torn open, bone visible. If she'd landed on her stomach, she could have hemorrhaged and lost the baby. Kang Sisi stood there with fake concern plastered on her face while internally thinking, good. Should have fallen harder. This woman is terrifying. And not the impressive kind of terrifying. They needs to be locked in a facility kind. Xiaoyi, completely oblivious to the truth, started scolding everyone except Kang Sisi. You should all be thanking Sisi. She saved Ruochu. And you're being mean to her. Kang Sisi deployed her signature move, the fake humble martyr act. Auntie, please don't worry about me. The cow shed is fine. It's better than sleeping on the streets like I used to. Don't make things hard for Uncle on my account. Translation. Please feel even more sorry for me while I pretend not to want the thing I desperately want. Classic manipulation. Say you don't want help, make them feel guilty, they insist on helping you. Reluctantly, accept. Textbook. But then crisis time. Zheng Suihong's knees were bleeding badly. The village medic was away doing rotations in another village, and nobody knew what to do. Enter, me, Jiang Ruochu, sleepy-eyed, carrying my little medicine box, absolutely not trying to be a hero, but somehow always ending up as one. Li Ji, I have wound ointment. Clean the injury first, then apply this so it doesn't get infected. I'd stocked up on medical supplies before coming to the countryside. Basically raided the hospital pharmacy. Every common medicine you could think of, I had it. Call me paranoid, call me prepared, call me the girl who almost emptied the entire pharmacy. Whatever. It pays off. Li Feng, the eldest son, looked at me like I descended from heaven. His wife has a condition where wounds don't heal easily, so these massive knee gashes were a genuine emergency. And here I was with exactly what they needed. I cleaned both knees, disinfected them, applied the ointment, and bandaged everything properly. Zheng Suihong grabbed my hand gratefully. Ruochu, without you, these knees would have gotten infected for sure. And with the baby coming, don't mention it, sister. Just be careful with that belly. You're in the final stretch. The moment I appeared, Kang Sisi's face froze. I could practically hear her internal screaming. Why is she everywhere? Is she my nemesis?
Yes.
Yes, I am. And I didn't even have to try. I just showed up with band-aids and basic human decency, and suddenly I'm the hero, and you're the villain. Funny how that works when one person helps and the other person kicks pebbles at pregnant women. Then Zheng Suihong said something that made the whole room shift. Xiaoxiui, why won't you thank Sisi? She saved you, Zheng Suihong, looking dead at Kang Sisi. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't have fallen in the first place. Boom. She knew. She couldn't prove it, but she felt it. Women's intuition. Never underestimate it. Li fe narupta, mom. Open your eyes. Look at what your precious niece really is. She deliberately hurt my wife. You want to bring someone like that into our home? You want to get poisoned? Then he turned to me with the most wholesome declaration. Ruochu, if this Kang Sisi ever tries to take your family's house, you come find me. I'll destroy her. I smiled, nodded, and said okay. Because what else do you say when a large angry man offers to be your personal enforcer over housing rights? Kang Sisi was shook. In her previous life, Li Feng apparently adored her. But in this timeline, my existence has completely reshuffled the deck. She showed up to play victim and left being called a poisonous snake. I showed up half asleep with a first aid kit and left with a new ally. She pulled Xiaoxiui aside with a grave expression, clearly about to spin some new scheme. But honestly, whatever she's planning, I'm not worried. Every time this woman tries something, it backfires. Every time I just exist near her, things go wrong for her. I'm not even trying to be her enemy. I'm just living my life, carrying my medicine box, patching up pregnant ladies at midnight. If being a decent human being is all it takes to defeat Kang Sisi, then she never stood a chance. So after my midnight medical mission patching up Zheng Suihong's knees, I was heading back to my room when I caught something interesting. Kang Sisi was having a hushed conversation with Xiaoxiui, and my ears, blessed with what I can only describe as supernatural eavesdropping ability, picked up something that made me stop dead in my tracks. Andy, tomorrow there's going to be a massive thunderstorm. A huge rainstorm. The grain needs to be moved into storage immediately. Now hold on. This woman just arrived. She's never lived here before, officially. And she's predicting tomorrow's weather with the confidence of someone who's already lived through it. The certainty in her voice wasn't, I checked the forecast, certainty. It was, I literally experienced this catastrophe in a previous life, certainty. My brain started clicking. Kang Sisi knows specific future events in this village. She's been here before. In another timeline. In another life. She's a rebirther. Just like me. Well. The plot thickens like my mom's morning kanji. Sure, Xiaoyi looked outside at the perfectly clear, cloudless sky and basically said, "Girl, you're crazy, go to bed." But Kang Sisi doubled down, pointing at the white moths swarming around the oil lamp, apparently a traditional sign of incoming floods. Brigade Captain Li Guozhen caught that detail, and his expression shifted.
He's a practical man.
Even if the radio didn't mention a big storm, those moths were suspicious. He started taking it seriously. And that's Kang Sisi's play. She can't announce this herself. She just got here. Nobody would believe her. But if the brigade captain says it, everyone listens. She gets the grain saved, takes credit later, becomes the village hero. 2 birds, 1 stone. 0 actual effort. Clever girl. Evil but clever. I went back to my room, but didn't lie down. Instead, I sat on the Kong and looked out into the courtyard. And there it was, the thing that made every alarm bell in my head go off. Kang Sisi ran into Wang Qingqing, the same Wang Qingqing whose crew has been terrorizing my family. And they knew each other. Recognized each other. Like old friends reuniting.
Sisi?
Is that really you? Weren't you living on the military base? Qingqing, what happened to your mouth? Why is it swollen like that? The Jiang family happened. They beat me up because of that Jiang Ruochu. Sisi, you have to avenge me. Oh. So all those mysterious attacks on my family, the dung throwing, the harassment, the sabotage weren't random at all. They were orchestrated. By Kang Sisi. Remotely. Like a conductor directing an orchestra of misery. Except instead of a baton, she should be given 2 sticks to bang together, because that's all her schemes deserve. This woman has been running a long-distance harassment campaign against the Jiang family from a military base. She's literally been phone coaching these idiots on how to make our lives hell. She's not just a schemer, she's a franchise operator of evil. Wang Qingqing whined about how I was too hard to deal with. Yeah, sorry, my family fights back when people throw literal feces at our house. How inconsiderate of us. Their voices dropped too low for me to catch details, but I'd seen enough. The connection was confirmed. Kang Sisi is the puppet master and Wang Qingqing and her crew are the puppets. Then I watched Kang Sisi pull Wang Qingqing aside and whisper something about teacher recruitment? Something about exam questions after autumn harvest? I couldn't hear the specifics, but the vibe was unmistakable. Kang Sisi was offering Wang Qingqing insider knowledge, exam answers she remembered from her previous life, in exchange for loyalty.
A Qingqing me pacaja das afrienche, por favor.
2 teaching positions. 2 women with pre-memorized answers. Everyone else gets shut out. Nice and tidy. If you're a soulless con artist, that is. Here's what I know now. Kang Sisi is reborn. She knows what's coming, storms, opportunities, threats, because she's lived through all of it before. In her first life, she apparently lived in this village, nearly starved during the flood, failed the teacher exam, and spent years here before whatever happened to end that timeline. Now she's back with a cheat sheet for life, and her #1 priority seems to be destroying the Jiang family. My family. Which means whatever happened between us in her previous timeline, it was bad. For her.
Good.
That means in her version of events, we win. My strategy is simple. Whatever Kang Sisi plans to do, I make sure she fails. Every advantage she thinks she has from her past life, I nullify it. Every scheme she cooks up, I cook it better. She wants to be the hero who saves the grain? We'll see about that. She wants to cheat on the teacher exam? We'll see about that too. She wants to destroy the Jiang family?
Definitely see about that.
The next morning, I woke up to the most wonderful smell. Mom's cooking. Fresh, hot, ready to eat. I stretched in my blankets and just inhaled Mom's food. Waking up to a hot meal is the greatest luxury in the world. Little sis, get up. Sister-in-law warmed water for you. It's on the washstand. That was Shun Nana, always taking care of things before I even ask. Little Xiaowei was on the floor playing with a butterfly clip on Qin Zhao's head. Our adopted baby has become everyone's favorite toy, apparently, and he pushed my shoes toward my feet. Auntie, shoes. Then my older sister Jiang Ruochu, the ice queen herself, The woman of few words and many actions silently handed me my work gloves. She'd noticed they were torn yesterday and had already sewn them back together. My sister can barely thread a needle, but she sat there and fixed my gloves because she noticed. She always notices. Cold on the outside, absolute furnace of love on the inside. That's my big sis. I sat there surrounded by my family, warm water ready, shoes placed, gloves mended, breakfast cooking, and felt something the original Jiang Ruochu must have felt every day without appreciating. Unconditional, wordless, practical love. How did the original owner of this body end up so timid and self-doubting when she grew up in this much warmth? Was it love that broke her? Did she lose herself trying to chase romance and forget that she already had the real thing right here at home? Well, I'm here now, and I'm going to live this life fully, experiencing every beautiful thing, fixing every mistake, and making sure the original Ruochu's regrets become my triumphs. But first, one piece of unfinished business. Sis, you mentioned once that you received a mysterious love letter, and after that, Zhang Zhuang started drinking and hitting you. Do you still have that letter? Jiang Ruochu nodded and pulled it from a faded green backpack. She'd kept it all this time. Almost lost it when Zhang Zhuang tried to rip it up. She wanted to know who wrote it, who set this whole nightmare in motion. Sis, I think someone planted that letter to frame you. Can I see it? Or let me hold on to it for safekeeping, because in my experience, mysterious love letters that conveniently destroy marriages don't write themselves. Someone engineered my sister's suffering, and I have a very strong hunch about who that someone might be. Looks pointedly in the direction of the cow shed where a certain reborn schemer is sleeping. Kang Sisi, if that letter traces back to you.
Well,
Let's just say I have a medicine box, a sharp mind, and a family that fights dirty when necessary. Your move, maestro. So my sister handed me the letter and said, I've always suspected someone planted it, but I have zero leads. I glanced at the contents and wow, this was not a subtle love letter. This was the kind of thing that would make a sailor blush. No wonder Zhang Zhuang went berserk. If I received a letter like this addressed to my spouse, I'd also lose my mind. Whoever wrote this knew exactly what buttons to push. I tucked it away for investigation. Evidence. Secured. Then Sis suddenly clamped her hand over her mouth and bolted outside. Again. This has been happening a lot lately. Shanana watched her go. What's with Ruochu? Did she eat too much meat? Her stomach's been acting up for days. But Mom walked in behind her with a look on her face that said something very different. That wasn't a bad stomach look. That was a, I've given birth twice and I recognize that symptom look. Oh no. Oh no. Is my sister pregnant? She told me Zhang Zhuang tried to force himself on her and she refused. So, she shouldn't be pregnant. Unless, before things went bad between them, they had already. If she is pregnant, this is a disaster. Unmarried and pregnant in this era, the gossip alone could destroy her. People's spit can literally drown you in this society. I'll ask her privately during fieldwork. Discreetly. Because this is a ticking time bomb that needs careful handling. Before breakfast, I did my morning routine of feeding our resident comatose patient, Qin Xiao. Spiritual spring water first, then thick rice porridge. We had rice congee this morning, so I spooned him the good stuff. Hey buddy, don't you get tired of just lying there? How about you do me a favor and, I don't know, stand up. Just once? Give me a sign of life that isn't breathing. Having an unconscious person in your house 24/7 is unsettling enough during the day. At night, with the oil lamp flickering, he looks like a prop from a horror movie. Just lying there, motionless, breathing, staring at the ceiling with closed eyes. And where is this man's family? It's been days. No one has come looking. No search parties.
no frantic relatives.
Did they just forget they have a person? Did he fall off the family inventory? Am I going to be stuck with this human-shaped responsibility forever? Sighs dramatically.
Fine.
I wasn't planning to get married anyway. I'll just be the crazy lady who lives with a comatose stranger. We'll grow old together. Well, I'll grow old, and he'll just continue existing horizontally. But wait. This man eats food, uses medicine, takes up space. Over a lifetime, that's a lot of money being poured into a human-shaped money pit who contributes nothing.
No. No.
We need to fix him, find his family, and send them the bill. Jiang Ruochu does not do charity. This is an investment and I will see returns. Meanwhile, Qin Shao was internally screaming. He wants to get up. He wants to move. He's a military man lying here helpless while his comrades are probably going insane trying to find him. Or worse, they've already accepted he's dead. And here's the tragic irony. He's so determined to maintain his dignity that he's refusing to relieve himself. Because the thought of me having to clean that up makes him want to die of embarrassment more than his actual injuries. Sir, your commitment to dignity is admirable, but your bladder has limits. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Speaking of people looking for Qin Shao, my brother walked right past this village today. My actual brother, Jiang Dawei, leading a military search team. He'd been here before visiting family and nobody mentioned finding an injured person, so he almost skipped right over Pear Tree Village. And then he spotted Kang Sisi. They locked eyes, both confused. Why is he here? Why is SHE here? A soldier recognized her. Ma'am, you were sent down here. They asked if anyone in the village had found a severely injured man recently. And Kang Sisi, with full knowledge that the person they're looking for is literally lying in MY house being fed rice porridge right now, looked them dead in the eye and said, no, she lied. She knows where Qin Shao is. She recognized him. And she deliberately kept the information from a military search team because she wants me to suffer. Her internal monologue, which I would later piece together. Your sister is cleaning up his mess right now, and I'm not telling you. Suffer. All of you suffer. In her previous life, apparently, SHE was the one assigned to care for Qin Shao. And instead of actually helping him, she tortured him, washing him with freezing water in winter, neglecting his basic needs. He didn't die from his injuries. He died because Kang Sisi killed him through cruelty. A man strong enough to survive catastrophic wounds couldn't survive her. And now she wants me trapped in the same role, except she doesn't know that I actually care about my patients and have magical spring water and a fully stocked medicine cabinet. My brother left without finding what he was looking for, because one woman's spite kept a family from being reunited. Kang Sisi watched him go and muttered with ice-cold eyes, "Act tough all you want. Your sister is wiping his butt right now, and I'll never tell you. This woman's hatred runs so deep it's practically geological. Whatever happened between our families in her previous life, she carries it like a disease. And it's making her do terrible things." Meanwhile, in the things I definitely don't have time for category, Ru Xianghua is still locked in my cabinet. The man has been in there for 3 days. It's cramped, there's no oxygen, and brace yourselves, he got so thirsty he drank his own pee in the middle of the night. Do I feel bad? Let me consult my conscience.
No.
He's alive. That's enough. Once autumn harvest is done, and I sell the cotton, then I'll deal with him. He can marinate in his consequences a little longer. Early morning, Brigade Captain Li Guozheng called a village-wide meeting. He stood on a dirt mound, looking stressed beyond human limits, and announced, "Everyone needs to hustle today. Finish cutting the corn by 2 p.m. Tonight there will be a massive rainstorm. After cutting, all grain in the fields and at your homes goes into the storage warehouse. Everything." The villagers looked at the sky. Crystal clear. Not a wisp of cloud. "Captain, are you joking? There isn't a single cloud up there. This workload is impossible. We're not machines. Who can finish all that by your deadline?" Then Kang Sisi stepped forward for her big hero moment. This was her plan. Warn about the storm, save the grain, take all the credit. Everyone, please calm down. I know I'm new here, but I have to tell you, my great-great-grandmother came to me in a dream last night. She said a massive storm is coming tonight that will destroy all the grain. I starved to death this winter. Her dreams have come true before. Silence. Then laughter. A dream? Are you serious? Great-great-grandma? In a dream? Lady, did the commune send you here to crack the whip?
Just say so.
We don't need fairy tales as motivation. The villagers thought the whole thing was a government trick to make them work harder. They didn't believe a single word. Kang Sisi's grand plan, her big heroic moment, was going down in flames. Her face was turning colors. This was not how it went in her mental screenplay. And then, from somewhere in the crowd, another voice spoke up.
Calm.
Confident.
Certain.
Tonight, there will be a massive rainstorm. Every head turned. Someone else knew about the storm? Oh, this just got very interesting. So, I dropped my bomb. Tonight, there will be a massive rainstorm. And let the silence do its work. I looked straight at Kang Sisi with a little smile, and her eyes were shooting daggers at me so hard I could practically hear them whistling through the air. The villagers were confused. Wait, now 2 people are saying there's a storm? What's going on? 1 person saying it. Easy to dismiss. But 2? That makes you nervous. That makes you look at the sky a little harder. Still blue. Still clear. Still not a single cloud. But the seed of doubt was planted, and doubt is a hungry little weed. I pointed at the ground. Everyone look at the ants. They're already carrying food into their tunnels. Swallows flying low. Ants moving house. The classic folk wisdom signs of incoming rain. I can't tell you exactly how big the storm will be from ants alone, but combined with everything else, the evidence is stacking up. Kang Sisi was fuming. I could feel her glare boring into the back of my skull. She whipped around and caught her husband Lu Zekin staring at me with those gooey puppy eyes of his, and she stomped on his foot with her heel.
Ow.
What is wrong with you? He hissed. You're what's wrong. Where are your eyes looking? Lu Zekin is genuinely starting to wonder if his wife was replaced by an alien. Before marriage, oh, big brother, you're so wonderful, sweet as honey. After marriage, foot-stomping psychopath. The man signed up for a wife and got a parole officer. He sighed internally. Maybe it's because my status changed and everyone around me changed too. No, buddy, it's because she's literally a different version of herself from an alternate timeline. But you're not ready for that conversation. The crowd erupted into arguments. Brigade Captain Li Guozheng finally bellowed for silence and laid down the law. We can't afford to gamble. What if they're right? Our entire village's food supply is at stake. The villagers grumbled. They're not lazy people, they're exhausted people. The commune has treated Pear Tree Village like the ugly stepchild for years. No fertilizer shipments, garbage quality seeds, zero support. Of course their harvests are bad. Of course they seem unproductive. The system set them up to fail and then blamed them for failing. So when someone says, work extra hard today for a maybe storm, you can understand why they push back. Kang Sisi was internally seething at their resistance while maintaining her sweet public face. Please believe my great-great-grandma's dream. If we don't save the grain, we'll all regret it. Internally, these ungrateful idiots. If I wasn't stuck here needing the collective grain to survive, I wouldn't waste a breath on any of them. What a humanitarian. Now here's where I made my real move. I disagree with Comrade Kang's plan, I announced. Putting grain in the village storehouses isn't enough. If this is a true massive storm, it could bring flooding. The whole village could be underwater. I think we should carry the grain up the mountain to the caves. That got reactions. Are you insane? Carry grain up a mountain. Listen, new girl, you obviously don't know this area. We haven't had a flood in 50 or 60 years. The climate here doesn't support that kind of rainfall. Kang Sisi's plan makes more sense. Just put it in the storehouses. Yeah, let's go with the dream lady. At least she's not asking us to become pack mules. The crowd sided with Kang Sisi's version. Store the grain inside. Don't haul it uphill like crazy people. Kang Sisi shot me a look of pure triumph. Her face practically screamed. Trying to steal my credit? Pathetic. Nobody believes you. I lived through this. The rain was big, but there was no flooding. I know more than you. You overplayed your hand, and now you look like a fool. Oh, Kang Sisi.
Sweet, overconfident Kang Sisi.
You remember what happened in your timeline. I know what actually needs to happen. And those are 2 very different things. Your memory is from a life where nobody prepared properly. You've never seen what happens when the preparations change. You're playing checkers with last game's moves, and I'm playing chess. After the crowd dispersed, I pulled the brigade captain aside. Captain Lee, this isn't just about grain. If there's real flooding, lives are at risk. He nodded seriously. I'll try to convince more people this afternoon. And you know what? By afternoon, some villagers started heading up the mountain with their grain. Not because of Kang Sisi's stream. Not even fully because of me. Because of Bullet. Our dog, Bullet, the one who'd been acting insane for days, was losing his absolute mind. Barking, howling, running in circles, trying to herd people toward high ground. Animals know. And Bullet was screaming, danger, louder than any human could. Then a 90-something-year-old village elder spoke up. When I was a little girl, there was a flood. Before it came, our family dog acted exactly like this. Some people believed her. Others said she was senile. Fair enough. Everyone who could corroborate her story was already dead. Hard to fact-check a centenarian. Ru Ping and her mother Li Xia watched the villagers heading uphill. Li Xia hesitated. Should we follow them? Ru Ping, still doing Ru family things. Mom, you're too naive. Just because Jiang Ruochu says something, you believe it? I can't understand why anyone listens to her. Li Xia thought about it and agreed. You're right. Besides, the mountains are dangerous wild bears. They're walking to their deaths up there. She looked at the sky.
Clear. Blue.
Peaceful. Maybe the rain won't even come. Famous last words.
Famous. Last.
Words. I went home, stuffed our blankets and bedding into woven bags, packed food, and got ready to move. Then I glanced at the locked cabinet where Ru Xianghua was still imprisoned. He'd been in there for 3 days. No food. No water. Well, he'd been drinking. Let's not talk about what he'd been drinking at midnight. The man got creative with his hydration options, and I'm going to leave it at that. He was banging on the cabinet door with everything he had, desperate to escape. He could hear the house was empty. This was his best chance. My reaction. He's still alive in there?
Good.
He can wait until after autumn harvest. I'll deal with him when I sell the cotton. I walked out without looking back. Ice cold.
No regrets.
That man tried to rob my family. He can enjoy his wooden prison a little longer. I borrowed a villager's donkey cart because I suddenly remembered. Right, I have a comatose patient who can't walk. Can't exactly leave him in a house that might flood. Bullet ran alongside the cart, wagging his tail. I thought you forgot about him. Forget him? He still owes me money. I'd forget my own birthday before I forget a debt. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Jiang Ruochu financial philosophy. No patient gets left behind because every patient is an outstanding invoice. Meanwhile, Kang Sisi slipped away from the fields while everyone was busy. She told people she was going toward the village entrance, but once out of sight, she doubled back to the educated youth station. She was carrying half a bag of cornmeal, and she was sneaking into my house. Oh girl, what are you up to now? Breaking into my home while I'm evacuating to the mountain? With cornmeal? Are you planting evidence? Poisoning our food? Setting up another frame job? Whatever it is, just know, everything you've tried so far has blown up in your face. But please, by all means, keep going. I need the entertainment and karma needs the exercise. So, here's the thing about this era. All grain belongs to the collective. If everyone's busy moving grain to storehouses or hauling it up the mountain before a storm, and someone gets caught with private grain hidden in their home, that's a death sentence. Socially, legally, every which way. And Kang Sisi, brilliant, psychotic Kang Sisi, snuck into my house with half a bag of cornmeal to plant it in my cabinet. Frame the Jiang family for hoarding private grain. Get us arrested. Remove us from the village permanently. This woman is playing the long game of evil, and I have to respect the commitment even as I despise her entire existence.
But
when she stepped inside, the cabinet started violently shaking. She nearly jumped out of her skin. Is someone in the house? A ghost? Then she heard a muffled voice from inside. Jiang Ruochu, I will destroy you. All right. Ru Xianghua, my prisoner, my 3-day cabinet inmate. I almost forgot about him. Well, not almost, I very deliberately left him in there. But still. Kang Sisi's brain went through several stages. Stage 1. There's a person in the cabinet? Stage 2. This person hates Jiang Ruochu. Stage 3. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. She kicked Qin Xiao on the floor as she walked past, casual cruelty, her brand, found a rock outside, and smashed my lock open. Cabinet door swings wide. Hello. I'm new here. My name is Kang Sisi. Let me help you out. She almost blurted out his name. Almost blew her reborn cover in the first 3 seconds. Smooth. Real smooth. She knew Ru Xianghua from her previous life, but they hadn't met yet in this timeline. Calling him by name would have been hard to explain. Ru Xianghua was too dehydrated and desperate to notice. He thanked her and muttered, "We need to leave. I'll repay you someday." While pulling him out, Kang Sisi casually tossed her half bag of cornmeal into the cabinet and covered it with some of my clothes. Evidence planted. Trap set.
Just like that.
One smooth motion while pretending to be helpful. This woman is efficient in her evil. I'll give her that. But then, just as they were about to run, something grabbed their ankles. They looked down. Qin Xiao. My comatose, can't move, supposedly completely paralyzed patient. Grabbing their feet. With a grip that would shame a vice clamp. The man chose violence from a horizontal position. He couldn't walk. He couldn't sit up. He could barely breathe normally. But he heard enemies in his caretaker's home, and he decided, "Not on my watch. You're not going anywhere." Kang Sisi tried to shake free.
Couldn't.
She grabbed the rock and started hammering his fingers. Beat them until the skin split open, until the joints cracked, until his fingers literally broke. Let Gio, you cripple. In her previous life, she was forced to take care of this man, and she tortured him to death. Froze him with cold water in winter, neglected him, let him suffer. He didn't die from his injuries. He died from her. And now, in this life, he was grabbing her ankle like the universe was trying to say, "I remember what you did." She broke his fingers. All of them. Only then did his grip fail. If he hadn't let go, she was about to bring that rock down on his skull. These people are monsters. I came back with the donkey cart to pick up Qin Xiao and found a smashed lock, scratch marks on the cabinet, Ru Xianghua gone, and Qin Xiao lying on the floor with hands that looked like they'd been through a meat grinder. I knelt down and examined the scene. Yellow powder on the ground. I rubbed it between my fingers and sniffed. Cornmeal. I followed the trail of scattered powder and found half a bag of cornmeal hidden inside my cabinet, tucked under clothes. Someone broke in, freed Ru Xianghua, and planted contraband grain in my home. All in one visit.
Multitasking villainy. I didn't need 3 guesses to know who.
But first things first, Qin Zhao's hands. I pulled out my medical kit and started cleaning and disinfecting his destroyed fingers. Whatever happened while I was gone, this man fought someone. He couldn't walk, couldn't sit up, but he still tried to stop them. With just his hands. "Sir, when you recover, and you will recover, you and I are going to have a very interesting conversation about what happened here. Ruochu, are you home?" Jiang Ruochu waddled in with her massive pregnant belly, carrying a half bag of grain. She wanted to ride the donkey cart up the mountain with me. While I was finishing up with Qin Xiao, she sat on the Kong catching her breath, looking pale. "Sis, are you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. Don't even get me started. On my way here, that Kang Sisi almost knocked me over running out of your house like her pants were on fire. What was she doing in here?" So Kang Sisi was fleeing the scene so recklessly she nearly tackled a pregnant woman for the 2nd time. This girl has a genuine pattern of endangering unborn children. Someone needs to keep her away from expectant mothers permanently. She was definitely doing something shady, Jiang Ruochu continued. That night she came to our house trying to get my father-in-law to kick your family out, acting all sweet and innocent, but her scheming was so obvious. Only my mother-in-law is dumb enough to fall for it. Then she dropped a bomb I was not prepared for. "Oh, and she told my mother-in-law that your sister is pregnant." I froze. "She said what?" "She saw your sister throwing up outside and went straight to my mother-in-law to gossip. And you know my mother-in-law. Biggest mouth in the village. Everyone probably knows by now. Kang Sisi. You absolute snake. Even if my sister is pregnant, which I'm still not sure about, Spreading that information in this era is weaponized gossip. An unmarried pregnant woman in the 1970s countryside? That's social annihilation. That's the kind of rumor that gets people dragged to public criticism sessions. I covered immediately. My sister just has a stomach bug. She's not pregnant. Kang Sisi is literally making things up. Damage control mode activated. I loaded Qin Xiao onto the donkey cart, gave Zheng Cuihong some peach pastries for the road. But save some for your sister. Pregnant women need to eat whenever they're hungry, she said, inadvertently confirming she thinks Sis is pregnant. Great. And we headed for the mountain. My parting philosophy as we left: respect everyone's choices. And respect everyone's consequences. Translation: the people who chose not to evacuate made their bed. I hope the bed is waterproof. Back at the Ru household, the people who stayed behind were having a party. Ru Xiangwa made it home. His mom Li Xia cooked a whole chicken, and they invited the Lu family and Wang Qingqing, basically the entire We Hate Jiang Ruochu fan club, for dinner. Kang Sisi was eating her cornbread and laughing. Those idiots ran up the mountain for nothing. Imagine. They won't get hit by floods. They'll get eaten by wild boars. Ha! Ru Ping gnawed on a chicken breast. The legs were reserved for dad and brother, obviously. Daughters get scraps even when celebrating. I can't believe people actually listen to Jiang Ruochu. So stupid. They were all having a grand old time, mocking us, eating chicken, feeling superior. Then Ru Xiangwa, the man-eyed, kept locked in a cabinet. For 3 days, who was just freed by Kang Sisi, who should logically be celebrating his escape, finished eating, said he had something to do, and left, walking toward the mountain. Toward US. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Maybe 3 days in a cabinet gave him time to think about whose side he really wants to be on. Or maybe he has his own agenda entirely. Either way, the storm is coming. The sky is darkening. And half the village is on a mountain while the other half is eating chicken and laughing at us. One of these groups made the right choice. Let's find out which one. So while I was up on the mountain living my best apocalypse prepper life, drama was still unfolding down in the village. Let me set the scene. At the Ru household chicken dinner, they were too smart to evacuate celebration. Lu Zekin was sitting there like a zombie, staring at nothing, completely uninterested in the beautiful roasted chicken in front of him.
Because he was thinking about me.
At dinner, in front of his wife, Kang Sisi was watching this happen in real time, seething with jealousy, aggressively gnawing on a chicken foot like it had personally offended her. Wang Qingqing, smugly. Jiang Ruochu tricked everyone into going up the mountain. After this, she'll have zero credibility in the village. Lu Zekin snapped. Slammed down his chopsticks. Can you people stop talking behind someone's back? What's wrong with you? Jiang Ruochu is a kind, genuine girl, and you're turning her into a villain. She was trying to help the villagers. Dead. Silence. He just publicly defended another woman. At dinner, in front of his wife and her entire social circle, Kang Sisi's face went through every shade of fury. Why are you so worked up? What does she have to do with you? Ru Ping and Wang Qingqing were living for this drama. Wait, there's a story between Lu Zekin and Jiang Ruochu? Tell us everything. Lu Zekin stormed off to the cowshed, dropping one last grenade. You're all hopeless. Kang Sisi chased after him screaming. Oh, so now I'm hopeless? Now Jiang Ruochu is the good one? Get up. Explain yourself. What do you mean? Lu Zekin, get up, his mother scolded Kang Sisi. His father kept eating, unbothered. Classic old man energy. And then right on cue, the sky started to change. Dark clouds. Heavy. Pressing down like the atmosphere itself was holding its breath. The storm was coming. But first, the brigade captain and 2 militia officers marched into the Educated Youth Station courtyard, looking like they meant business. We've received a report that someone in this compound is hiding private grain. Hand it over now, and we'll go easy. Make us search for it, and things get complicated. Kang Sisi sat there looking perfectly calm. Well, obviously, it's not going to be found on me. I planted it at the Jiang house. They're toast. But here's the thing she was confused about. She hadn't written the report yet. She was planning to report my family for hiding grain after the cornmeal was found in my cabinet. But someone beat her to it. Who tipped off the militia? Oh, Kang Sisi. You underestimate how many moves ahead I play. See, when I came home and found the smashed lock, the freed prisoner, and the conveniently planted cornmeal, I didn't just leave it there. I'm not an idiot. I recognized the setup immediately. Plant grain in my home, report me, get the Jiang family arrested for hoarding. So I moved it, right back where it would do the most damage, to the person who brought it. The militia searched every house in the compound. The Jiang house? Empty.
Clean.
Not a single grain out of place. Then they checked the cow shed, lifted up the straw mats, half a bag of cornmeal, right where Kang Sisi sleeps. What is this? Caught red-handed. You're hiding collective grain. No wonder Pear Tree Village can never meet its quota. You people are stealing. If everyone did this, who would submit public grain? The whole nation would starve. Kang Sisi's face went white, then green, then a color that doesn't have a name in any language. What? I put that in the Jiang house. In their cabinet. How is it here? Under my sleeping mat? Am I hallucinating? She was spiraling. The frame job reversed. The trap she built for me snapped shut on her own ankle. Yu Xiaolon, Lu Zekin's mom, was genuinely clueless. Lu Zekin obviously didn't do it. The old man was confused. None of them had any idea where this cornmeal came from. Lu Zekin fought back. Just because you found it here doesn't mean we hid it. Where's your proof? Valid argument. Zero evidence to support it. Nobody believes the people standing next to the contraband. Kang Sisi, in desperation, did what she does best, pointed the finger at me. It was Jiang Ruochu. She framed us. Our families have been fighting. Ask anyone. Yu Xiaolon jumped in. Yes. That fox spirit wanted to marry my son and got rejected. She hates our family. She planted it. Her whole family should die. Ma'am, your son just publicly defended me at dinner and stormed off because people were mean to me. But sure, I'm the desperate one here. The Ru family and Wang Qingqing, never ones to miss a dogpiling opportunity, chimed in. Oh yeah, Jiang Ruochu is terrible. She's violent, petty, holds grudges, and if you cross her, she will get revenge. That's actually not entirely wrong. But the context they're providing is wildly misleading. Meanwhile, up on the mountain, I was eating a rabbit head and having the time of my life. Earlier, I'd pulled about a dozen fat rabbits and several wild chickens out of my spatial storage and told everyone Bullet caught them. My rabbit population in the villa space has been reproducing like rabbits. I literally can't eat them fast enough. They're multiplying and they're running a breeding competition. Bullet played along beautifully, prancing around with his chin held high, accepting head pats and praise from every villager like the celebrity he was born to be. Jiang Ruochu, you're a city girl and you hunt better than all of us. Combined, seriously, catching one rabbit takes us men half a day, and you got 15? Oh, it was all Bullet's doing, I said modestly, giving credit to my dog, who was now strutting around camp like he owned the mountain. People cooked, we ate, and I gave Zheng Suihong a rabbit pelt. Have it made into a little vest for the baby. It'll be warm this winter. She nearly cried. She's terrified about winter. If her mother-in-law finds out it's another girl, the family might cut them off entirely. But she's skilled with fur, so I gave her all the remaining pelts. Sis, I can make hats, gloves, scarves, you name it. Just leave it to me. Deal. I provide materials, she provides labor, baby gets warm clothes, everybody wins. The Jiang Ruochu economic zone is open for business. Little Xiaowei was running around the mountainside chasing Bullet like a tiny energetic demon, completely unbothered by the incoming apocalyptic weather. Kids are wonderful. They have the survival instincts of a lemming and the energy of a nuclear reactor. Bullet was internally screaming, Jiang Ruochu, control your nephew. He thinks I'm playing with him. I'm trying to rest. My legs hurt. The harder Bullet ran, the faster Xiaowei chased. Peak, annoying age behavior.
Bullet chose violence, Xiaowei chose cardio.
Then, the rain started. Mist rolled across the mountain. The air changed, and from our vantage point on the slope, we could see the entire village below. The villagers around me were grateful, relaxed, well-fed on rabbit stew. Jiang Ruochu, you're incredible. You saved us and fed us. But then a sound. Not rain, not thunder, water. A wall of it. Rushing, roaring, getting louder, getting closer. Wait, it's barely raining here. Where is all that water coming from? Fear hit the crowd like a shockwave. This wasn't just a rainstorm. This was a flood. The kind Kang Sisi's lived experience said would never happen. The kind the villagers said was impossible because it hasn't flooded in 60 years. The kind I told everyone to prepare for when I said, put your grain on the mountain. Down below, in the village, the people who stayed behind, Kang Sisi and her chicken dinner crew, the Ru family, Wang Qingqing, all the mockers and doubters, were about to learn a very wet, very expensive lesson about which prophet they should have believed. Kang Sisi, you remembered a rainstorm. I predicted a flood. You played last game's hand, and I played tomorrow's. Who's the fool on the mountain now? So the militia was still down in the village arguing with the Liu family about the planted cornmeal when the real show started. The militia tried intimidating them, falsely accusing others with no evidence. That makes your crime worse. Sure, Xiaoyi came charging out of the next-door house to defend her precious niece. Well, you don't have proof they hid it either. Did you see them put it there?
No.
Then it doesn't count. Brigade Captain Li Guozheng turned on his own wife. This has nothing to do with you. Stop making things worse. Go home. The Ru family and Wang Qingqing were sitting there like spectators at a tennis match, heads swiveling back and forth. Who's winning? We can't tell. This is really good though. Then from the mountains screaming. Not one voice. Dozens. Hundreds. All of us, screaming in unison toward the village below. Run. The water is coming. Run. We kept shouting. Over and over. Because from our spot on the mountainside, we could see what they couldn't. Countless streams of water flowing down from the slopes, trickling through the trees, manageable up here, where the forest broke them up. But down in the village, all those streams were converging, merging into one massive, unstoppable force. Must be heavy rain upstream too, I said, holding a branch over my head to stay dry. That's why there's flooding even though it's barely drizzling here. That's why my parents in my previous life always told me never to play by the river, even on sunny days. Because upstream might be drowning while downstream doesn't have a cloud in the sky. The water doesn't care about your weather. It brings its own. Down in the village, Kang Sisi was standing in the courtyard, hand outstretched, catching raindrops. Light drizzle. Nothing compared to the apocalyptic downpour she remembered from her previous life. Her brain. This isn't even a real storm. Where's the flooding coming from? This doesn't match my memories at all. That's because you remembered the rain, sweetheart. You didn't account for the river. You didn't factor in the upstream watershed. You lived through this event once and learned nothing about why it happened, only what it looked like from where you were standing. One life of experience, zero actual understanding. Congratulations. The brigade captain heard the roaring water and his survival instincts kicked in. Everyone run. High ground.
Now.
Get on the rooftops. People scattered like startled chickens. Then he realized rooftops weren't enough. And oh, not the roofs. The trees. Climb the trees. Hold on, the water was too powerful. Houses were about to go under. The only hope was to climb high and cling to something rooted deep enough to withstand the current. Every person for themselves. The phrase, when disaster strikes, everyone flies their own way, had never been more literal. What happened next? I'll be honest, it's hard to make funny. Wang Qingqing grabbed a tree and started climbing. Ru Ping yanked her off and took her spot. Wang Qingqing fell into the water with a splash and had to scramble for another tree. Not great, but she survived. Ru Ping pulled herself up and reached down for her mother Li Xia. Finally, a moment of family loyalty. Li Xia grabbed Ru Ping and pulled her off the tree. Then pushed her son Ru Dong up in her place. Mom? Am I even your real daughter? The Ru family line can't be broken. We've been single heir for generations. If your brother dies, I can't face our ancestors. You understand, right? She chose her son. In a life or death moment, she literally pulled her daughter off a tree to save her son. Because in this family, daughters are spare parts. Ru Ping lay in the floodwater, rain mixing with tears, heart completely shattered. The girl whose own mother chose to let her drown rather than risk the family line dying. She went under. The Lu family fared even worse. Kang Sisi, the woman they adopted, the woman they raised, the woman they defended against me at every turn, found a tree. The elderly Lu parents needed it too. Not enough room for everyone. So Kang Sisi pushed them both into the water.
Pushed.
Her adoptive parents into a flood. Die already, you useless old things. Stop dragging me down. Those were her actual words. To the people who saved her from the streets, who gave her a home, who took her side every single time she picked a fight with the Jiang family. The old couple, who couldn't swim, who had no strength left after being shoved repeatedly, had one final moment of clarity before the water took them. They finally understood what their daughter really was. If we had just been kind to Jiang Ruochu, maybe we wouldn't be dying like this. Too late. The water swallowed them whole. Lu Zekin had found safety on a sturdy tree. He'd even picked out a spot for his parents. When he turned around, they were gone. And hanging from their tree?
Kang Sisi. Soaked.
Hair plastered to her face, looking like a drowned rat with murder in her eyes. She clung to that tree, staring toward the mountain where I was safe and dry and fed, and screamed into the storm. Jiang Ruochu, why do you get to live my life? Why do you have everything? Heaven isn't fair.
Why?
Why? And here's where her story gets
complicated.
Before her adoptive mother died, in her previous life, the woman told Kang Sisi a secret. Her real parents are Jiang Lai and Xiao Shufang. My parents. She was told she was the biological daughter of the Jiang family, swapped or abandoned or lost somehow, and raised by an abusive stranger who treated her like garbage because she wasn't real. She grew up starving, beaten, homeless. Meanwhile, her family, my family, raised me with love, warmth, everything she never had. Then the man who rescued her from the streets, Lu Zekin, turned out to be the fiancé of the girl who supposedly stole her identity and her life. Me. In her first life, she was too scared, too broken, too uneducated to confront any of this. She just suffered in silence. In this life, she came back with one single goal: destroy the Jiang family.
Every last one.
Not to reclaim her identity, not to find her real parents, just to burn it all down. Is the secret even true? Her mother could have been lying, or confused, or manipulating her with her dying breath. It's a mystery with no witnesses and no proof. But Kang Sisi doesn't care about proof. She cares about pain, hers, and the pain she wants to inflict on us. Up on the mountain, people were crying. Some turned away, unable to watch the village below. The mood was heavy, grieving, terrified, but mostly grateful. I almost didn't come up here. I was this close to staying. I thought evacuating for a storm that hadn't happened was ridiculous. Thank your own ridiculousness. And thank that Jiang girl. Without her, how many of us would be dead right now? Professor Chiao, you raised an incredible daughter. She's a blessing to your family and to this whole village. Mom nodded, proud. Shin Nana held little Xiaowei with her chin high. Even my Ice Queen's sister Ruodong, sitting quietly in a corner nobody noticed, was silently grateful for herself and for the baby growing inside her. I was embarrassed by the praise, honestly, but I was also worried about the brigade captain and the people who stayed behind. I decided to head down the mountain to check Bullet, and I made it to the halfway point when movement. Behind a tree, two figures trying to hide. I stopped. Bullet's ears went flat. Someone followed us up here. Or someone was already here, watching. The storm isn't over yet, and I don't just mean the weather. Bullet down, I whispered. My dog dropped like a trained special ops agent. He sniffed the air from a distance and confirmed. Those two again. Bullet already knew their scents. One was definitely Ru Xianghua, my former cabinet prisoner. The other? Still a mystery. This person had seriously elite counter-surveillance skills. Never showed their face. Expert at blending in. But Bullet had their scent locked in now. Next time, face or no face, he'd ID them in a heartbeat. I crouched behind cover and listened.
Here's the notebook.
There are too many villagers on the mountain. I can't stay long. Get my family reinstated. Get us back to the city. The flood just destroyed this village's food supply. We'll starve this winter. The mystery person took the notebook and tucked it inside their coat. Consider it done. Your son's university slot is already reserved, so that's what this is about. Ru Xianghua stole my father's research notebook, the one containing critical scientific data, and has been trading it to some powerful shadowy figure in exchange for getting his family's exile reversed. They split up in opposite directions. Bullet was vibrating with rage. Let me bite him. Are we seriously letting him escape again? You put the notebook in your spatial storage. How did that old crook get his hands on it? I held him back. Calm down. We're in the shadows. They're in the open. That's exactly where we want them. And relax, that notebook is fake. That's right. I forged it, copied my dad's handwriting, recreated the entire notebook, and changed every piece of critical data. If it's machine specifications, one wrong number, and the whole thing explodes. If it's experimental data, one altered figure, and the results are garbage. These people want my father's work?
Fine.
Have it. Enjoy building a machine that self-destructs. Enjoy running experiments that produce nonsense. Enjoy explaining to your superiors why nothing works. If they were decent people, they'd obtain research through proper channels. The fact that they're sneaking around mountains during floods tells me everything about their character. Jiang Ruochu doesn't do revenge. She does quality control on her enemies' stolen goods. I waited until Ru Xianghua was well ahead before heading down with Bullet. From a distance, I watched him reach the flooded riverbank and freeze. The water was still raging. One wrong step, and he'd be swept away. Then a body in the current. Ru Ping, barely conscious, being carried by the flood, eyes flickering with the last threads of awareness. She spotted her father standing on the bank. Their eyes met. She was begging him with her gaze. Save me, please. I'm your daughter. Ru Xianghua looked at her, then turned around and walked back up the mountain.
He
left her. Too. I came running down. That's your daughter. You're not going to save her. Save her?
How?
I just drowned too. Sir, there are sticks on the ground. There are branches everywhere. You could throw her anything. You didn't even try. You just watched your own child float past you like debris and walked away. What kind of human being are you? Are you Ping? Catch this. Grab the wood and hold on. Don't struggle. The more you fight the current, the worse it gets. I threw her a piece of floating timber. She grabbed it. Smart girl. At least she has survival instincts, even if she got them from the wrong parent. Wait, scratch that. She got them from neither parent. She got them from pure desperate willpower. I pulled her to shore. She coughed up sand, gasped for air, and then, to my genuine shock, dropped to her knees and started kowtowing.
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. I was horrible to you. You're saving my life, and I treated you like dirt. I'll be your servant forever. Please forgive me. She was smashing her forehead into the ground so hard it started bleeding. Now, I know the story of the farmer and the snake. I've read it multiple times. Saving someone who previously tried to harm you is basically volunteering to get bitten. I didn't pull Ru Ping out because I trust her or because I've forgiven her. I pulled her out because I saw a person drowning and I had a piece of wood. That's it. That's the whole reason. I'm not Mother Teresa. I just happen to have lumber. Get up. Stop kneeling. I saved you because it was convenient, not because I'm a saint. But she kept crying, and for the first time, the tears seemed real. Do you know how much I've envied you? Your mom, your sister, your sister-in-law, they all treat you like a treasure. Your brother obviously adores you. I was jealous. That's why I said those terrible things. I'm awful. Then it came pouring out, the truth she'd been swallowing her whole life. Today I finally understood. My parents don't just favor my brother over me. They don't love me at all. My mother pulled me off a tree and pushed my brother up in my place. My father watched me drowning and walked away. If it had been my brother in that water, he would have jumped Diane without hesitation. She was ugly, crying. Snot, tears, blood from her forehead, the whole production. I didn't know what to say. What do you say to someone whose parents literally chose to let them die? So, I just listened. Sometimes that's enough. Then I pulled her up. Stop howling. Some people are born with thin family ties. Clinging to people who don't want you only destroys you from the inside. You need to find a way to climb out of that pit, not dig deeper into it. People without family support, without parental love, without anyone lifting them up, they have to save themselves. And some of them don't just lack support, they have family actively draining them. Parasites disguised as parents. If you don't want that life, then build a different one, with your own hands. Ru Ping nodded slowly. For the first time, I think she actually saw me, not as the girl she envied but as someone she could learn from. I'll stop crying, she said, wiping her swollen eyes. They looked like two ripe peaches. Her lungs had gotten a thorough workout from all the screaming, at least. Then she looked at the river, and her eyes went wide. Ruochu.
Look.
The river is full of fish. Let me catch some for you. To repay you. She was pointing at dozens of fish floating in the floodwater, all belly up, glinting in the fading light. In an era where meat is rare and fish is a luxury, this looked like a gold mine. There are so many. We could eat for years. I looked at the fish. All dead. All belly up. All carried in by floodwater that had swept through who knows what, sewage, corpses, disease, contamination. My face went completely dark. Thank you and your entire family tree, but if we eat those fish, we won't need to worry about next year because we'll be dead by tomorrow. Flood fish carry enough bacteria and viruses to wipe out a village. We'd be poisoned before we finished the first bowl of soup. Ru Ping. Oh, she says. I literally just saved you from drowning, and now you're trying to poison me with contaminated fish? I really did save a venomous snake. You're trying to kill me as a thank you gift. She looked mortified. I couldn't tell if she was genuinely that ignorant or if the universe was testing my patience. The floodwater gradually receded. Villagers started coming down from the mountain. The people clinging to trees in the village, the brigade captain, Shixiui, Lu Zekin, Kang Sisi, Wang Qingqing, and a handful of others, finally dropped down when the water level was low enough. As for the others who stayed in the village, the ones who refused to evacuate, who laughed at us, who said we were fools for running to the mountain. Some of them made it. Some didn't. I didn't see Ru Ping's motherly Xia anywhere. Or the Lu parents. The village would be counting its dead for days. And Kang Sisi? The woman who murdered her own adoptive parents to save herself? She climbed down from her stolen tree with aching arms and legs, and the first thing she did, the very first thing, was spot the dead fish in the river, grab a bucket from the yard, and start scooping them up. Her plan, collect as much fish as possible before anyone else gets back.
Keep it all.
Share with nobody, unless someone gets on their knees and begs her. This woman just let two elderly people drown, survived a flood by stealing their tree, and her immediate instinct is to hoard contaminated fish so she can play power games with starving villagers. And she thinks heaven is unfair to her? Lady, heaven sent a flood, and you still didn't wash clean. Some stains go deeper than water can reach. The flood receded and left behind a village that looked like it had been put in a blender. Roofs caved in, pots and pans scattered across the landscape like someone played the world's worst game of fetch, houses half destroyed. But the important thing? Most people survived. Most of the grain was saved, the stuff we hauled up the mountain at least. We lost some people though. That part wasn't funny. One villager was nearly in tears, staring at old Wang's wrecked house. I begged him to come with us. I should have just knocked him out and carried him. Why didn't I just carry him? Yeah, that one hit hard. No jokes for that. But then, the great fish fiasco of Pear Tree Village began, and I swear this event took 10 years off my life. The floodwater left behind hundreds of fish. Dead fish, dying fish, belly-up fish, floating everywhere in the muddy, filthy, contaminated water that had just washed through every outhouse, pigsty, and drainage ditch between here and the upstream mountains. Kang Sisi saw them, and her eyes went full goblin mode. She started scooping them up like her life depended on it, screaming at Lu Zekin. Stop standing there. Get a bucket. Get a bag. Get anything. Move. Lu Zekin was still processing the fact that both his parents just drowned and his wife had something to do with it. But hunger overrode grief. He went to get a bucket. Other villagers saw Kang Sisi catching fish, and a feeding frenzy began. Everyone ran home to grab the biggest container they could find. Basins, buckets, bags, cooking pots. If it could hold a fish, they brought it. Even my sister-in-law Nana got caught up in the excitement. She loves fish. Hasn't had any in about a year. She grabbed a basin and tried to charge into the water.
Cease. Catch.
I'll go get another one, sister-in-law. Put the basin down. We are not catching fish. She looked at me like I'd just told her Christmas was canceled. Mom saw me stop Nana and smiled approvingly. She understood without me saying a word. My sister Ruochu took one look at the fish, nearly threw up, pregnancy nausea strikes again, and followed Mom inside. But why? Nana was devastated. Are you being noble? Letting them have it? That's too generous. We don't need to be that nice. No, sweetheart. I'm not being noble. I'm being a person who paid attention in science class. I ran to the brigade captain, who was gleefully scooping up fish like it was his birthday. Captain Lee, these fish are dangerous. They're not normal river fish. They were carried in by floodwater. They're loaded with bacteria and viruses. You can't eat them. Ru Ping, who I'd spent the entire walk back educating about contaminated water, backed me up immediately. Everyone listened to her. She's right. These fish will kill you. Character development from Ru Ping? In this economy? I'll take it. But Kang Sisi saw an opportunity to undermine me. She looked up from her bucket, hands full of dead fish, and sneered. Oh, how convenient. You tell us not to eat them while you're holding a basin. What's the plan? Hog all the fish for yourself. These are perfectly fresh. She just wants them all. The villagers, bless their grateful, well-meaning, scientifically illiterate hearts, tried to be gentle with me. Ruochu dear, don't worry. Hurry up and catch some. They're so fresh. They literally just died. Nothing wrong with them. The brigade captain, trying to be generous, grabbed fish from his bucket and tossed them into my basin. Here, take these. The old saying goes, a little dirt never hurt anybody. SIR. That old saying was invented before germ theory. That saying has killed people. We are not in a little dirt situation, we are in a every disease-causing organism known to science is swimming in this water situation. Does someone need to actually die before you'll believe me? I was losing my mind. I just saved these people's lives. Literally just pulled them off a mountain, and now they're about to kill themselves with contaminated fish. The exhaustion. The frustration. I wanted to grab every single one of them by the shoulders and shake them. A kindly old woman tried to smooth things over. Sweetheart, don't be upset. We lost so much grain. We can't just go hungry. Annie, I understand you're scared of starving. But you can't eat if you're dead. I dumped the fish out of my basin. Every single one. Walked away. Kang Sisi jumped in gleefully. Dead if we starve, dead if we eat fish. Dead either way, right? I turned back, eyes sharp enough to cut glass. You want?
Tudi? Fine.
Don't drag these people down with you. She slammed a fish into her bucket so hard water splashed everywhere. Why do you always have to contradict me? What did I ever do to you? Lu Zekin, sensing imminent violence, dropped his bucket and stepped between us. Sisi. Enough. There are people watching. Ruochu is trying to help. Can you please communicate like a human being? Then I gave Kang Sisi the most casual shoulder shrug and the most condescending little smirk in my entire repertoire. She detonated. Lu Zekin. You used to always take my side. The one you can't have is always the most exciting. I asked that it? Have you no shame? I am your legal wife. Lu Zekin was genuinely baffled. What happened to the sweet, gentle girl he married? The one who used to call him Big Brother, with stars in her eyes? She's turned into a rage volcano that erupts every time my name is mentioned. He dumped out his entire bucket of fish. Sisi, be rational. I'm talking about facts. The floodwater is contaminated. The fish are contaminated. I won't eat them either. He didn't actually know if the fish were dangerous. He just wanted to agree with me. White knight energy, minus the horse, plus the desperation. His approach is terrible, but his conclusion accidentally correct. Kang Sisi was ready to spontaneously combust. Don't think I don't know what you're doing. It's too late. Too late for everything. Some villagers started quietly pouring out their fish. Not all, but enough. That Jiang girl knows more than us. Better safe than sorry. As long as we're alive, we can figure out food. Dead people don't eat. They drifted home one by one. Sure, Xioi comforted Kang Sisi. Sweetie, what's wrong with your husband? Is he cheating? Come eat at Andy's tonight. I'll stew some fish for you. Thanks, Andy. Let's dry the leftover fish into jerky too. It'll keep for months. Wait.
What?
You're going to cook the contaminated fish and dry it for long-term storage? So instead of getting sick once, you can get sick repeatedly over the entire winter? And Kang Sisi's internal revenge fantasy. When Lu Zekin comes crawling to me begging for food, I won't give him a single bite. He can starve. Ma'am, you'll both be in the hospital with food poisoning, fighting over who gets the last bedpan. But sure, enjoy your power trip. Our house survived okay. Middle of the compound, roof leaked a bit, but didn't collapse. Good enough. After dinner, I borrowed the brigade captain's donkey cart, loaded up Bullet and Qin Shao, and headed into town. I had a cotton delivery to make. The textile factory boss was expecting me at the small bridge outside the city at midnight. A deal's a deal, flood or no flood. Plus, Qin Shao needed his bandages changed, and since I was going to the city anyway, might as well multitask. The man's fingers looked like hamburger meat after Kang Sisi's rock attack, and the dressings needed fresh supplies. I was barely past the village entrance when I heard someone shouting behind me, to be continued, apparently. Because even at midnight, after a flood, after saving an entire village, after fighting about fish, after pulling a girl from a river, after discovering my father's research was stolen, even then someone needs something from me. Being Jiang Ruochu is a full-time job with 0 vacation days and mandatory overtime. So I'm driving my donkey cart into the city at midnight, post-flood, post-fish argument, post-saving an entire village, when I hear someone running up behind me. Comrade Jiang, can I hitch a ride? It was Shun Shao. Quiet guy. Probably heading to the city to find Li Wenxiu. I didn't need to ask. Sure, hop on. He climbed up, settled in, and we had a lovely moment of peaceful silence. For approximately 4 seconds. Because another body launched itself onto the back of my donkey cart like a stray cat jumping onto a moving truck. I turned around. Lu Zekin. Of course, it was Lu Zekin. He was sitting in the back, eyeballing the distance between me and Xin Shao, and jealousy was radiating off him like heat from a stove. He tapped Xin Zhao's shoulder. Hey bro, wanna switch to the back? Xin Shao looked at him, said nothing, and just
moved.
0 drama. King behavior, honestly. Now Lu Zekin was sitting closer to me, looking satisfied with himself. So naturally, I started steering the donkey cart directly over every rock and pothole I could find. Bump.
Crash. Thud.
Lu Zekin was bouncing around like a bean in a maraca, nearly flying off the cart twice. Ruochu.
Can you stop?
Can we just talk? Why are you so cold to me? Talk about what? Are we even close? That hit him. We grew up together. Childhood sweethearts. The original Jiang Ruochu worshipped this man. And now I'm treating him like a stranger on public transit. The emotional whiplash is breaking his brain. Meanwhile, Qin Shao, my horizontal patient, lying on the cart unable to open his eyes or speak, was listening to everything. He recognized Lu Zekin's voice.
Wait.
Isn't that the kid from my unit? The low-ranking soldier? What's his deal with this girl? And then, Ruochu. So that's her name. Lu Zekin launched into his grand romantic speech. Ruochu, I know I was wrong. Please give me another chance. My life is nothing without you. You are my life. Qin Zhao's stomach lurched. He nearly threw up. Not from his injuries, from the cringe. Because Qin Shao remembered something. He once overheard Liu Zekin bragging to fellow soldiers about how some girl had been obsessed with him since childhood, how she clung to him like glue and wouldn't leave no matter how much he pushed her away. He said he only kept her around because her family had connections. Called her desperate and clingy. And now this same man is on a donkey cart at midnight saying, "You are my life?" The audacity. The shamelessness. I asked the question the original Ruochu deserved to ask. I'm your life? Then why did you stand there and watch Kang Sisi humiliate me over and do nothing? I felt sorry for her, because she's an orphan. I neglected your feelings. But now I understand. Nobody matters more than you. We grew up together. Nobody can replace that. So, you married her? That marriage certificate is fake. I had it forged. Excuse me? Forged? In the 1970s? There are people making counterfeit marriage certificates in this era? He explained his genius plan. 1. He wanted to test if Kang Sisi would stick with him even after his family got exiled. 2. He wanted to make me jealous. Neither experiment produced the results he wanted. Kang Sisi stuck around but turned into a rage monster, and I didn't get jealous. I got gone. Liu Zekin, sensing I hadn't immediately rejected him, played what he thought was his ace. Ruochu, Sisi keeps wanting to be intimate, but I've refused. For you, I'm saving myself for her. I slammed the brakes. The donkey stopped. Everything stopped. Big guy. That information is not necessary. Qin Xiao started coughing violently. Whether from his injuries or from the sheer second-hand embarrassment of what he'd just heard, unclear. Probably both. I immediately turned my attention to him. Hey, you okay? You've been silent for days. At least this coughing means you're still alive. I was starting to worry you'd crossed over. I opened my water flask and fed him spiritual spring water. He drank eagerly. And kept drinking. And kept drinking. And kept. Bullet lifted his head from where he was lying. Oh, Mr. Comatose suddenly has a thirst? Funny how he's gulping down water like it's free. Newsflash, that spring water is not free, buddy. Every sip is expensive. Liu Zekin watched me tenderly caring for Qin Xiao, wiping his mouth, propping him up, fussing over him, and his jealousy hit critical mass. Ruochu, forget the cripple for 1 second. I wasn't finished. Will you marry me? I wiped Qin Xiao's chin with my handkerchief, didn't even look at Liu Zekin, and said, I'm never getting married. I'm going to spend the rest of my life with him. Qin Xiao, wait. Him is me? He choked again. I sat him up and patted his back. Liu Zekin's jaw actually dropped. You'd rather live your entire life with a paralyzed man than marry me? Am I really that bad? Can he even give you what a man is supposed to? Qin Xiao's coughing stopped instantly. Excuse me? Did this punk just question my capabilities? I'm injured, not defective. Everything works. I am a fully functional adult male who is temporarily horizontal. How dare he wanted to scream this? He wanted to sit up and fight. But his body wouldn't cooperate. The rage had nowhere to go. Just a comatose man lying on a donkey cart, silently furious about his manhood being questioned. Bullet had had enough. He raised a paw and kicked Liu Zekin clean off the cart. Get off. Goodbye. The cart was slow, so Liu Zekin just tumbled and rolled, got up mostly unharmed, and played his final card, the one all his previous nonsense was building toward. Ruochu, don't you want to know where your father is? Write a letter to Commander Wang recommending me back to the army, and I'll tell you. I stopped the cart.
Turned slowly.
So that's what this was about. All that romantic garbage was just the appetizer. This is the main course. Ruochu, me going back to the army benefits you too. Marry me, and you won't have to suffer in the countryside. And your father, someone told me before we left that they found his trail. His eyes flickered with something calculated. Something dark. I caught it instantly. You're also looking for my father? Why does everyone want to find him? For you, obviously. No thanks. My father abandoned his family. I'm not looking for him. Now get lost. Stop being annoying. I kicked him off the cart. Literally. My foot, his body, the ground.
Done.
As I drove on, I analyzed everything he'd said. This man doesn't love me. He loves what I can do for him. my family connections, my potential to write recommendation letters, maybe even my father's research notebook. Lu Zekin worked in military technical operations. He could absolutely be after Dad's data. His whole "I love you" speech was a con job wrapped in rose petals. Every sweet word was a fishing line, and the hook was, "Get me back into the army." The original Jiang Ruochu would have fallen for it. She loved this man with her whole heart. But I am not her. I feel absolutely nothing for Lu Zekin. Not a spark. Not a flicker. Not even a lukewarm ember. Nothing. You want to climb the ladder using my shoulders? The ladder's been removed, sir. Find another wall to scale. As for his claim about finding my dad, almost certainly bait. A lie designed to make me emotionally dependent on him. But something nagged at me. Why was the Lu family exiled to the same village as us? I reported them, sure, but the punishment should have been minor, a career setback at most. Full family exile? To the exact same remote village? That's too convenient to be coincidence. And that mole behind Lu Zekin's ear. Every time I think about it, my head explodes with pain, like someone installed a migraine trigger attached to that specific memory. Like a monk chanting the headband spell at Sun Wukong. Why does that mole cause me pain? What am I not supposed to remember? I pushed the thoughts aside, because I was late. The cotton deal was supposed to happen at midnight at the small bridge outside town, and I'd already blown past the deadline. The second textile factory director was pacing, chain-smoking, looking like he was about to leave. Li Wenxiu, your so-called good little sister, is probably a fraud. Bet she's a spy from the third factory. I knew I shouldn't trust some teenage girl. He crushed his cigarette under his boot. Oh, great. I haven't even arrived yet, and I'm already being called a scam artist and an industrial spy. Just another Tuesday in the life of Jiang Ruochu, donkey cart driver, flood survivor, fish toxicologist, comatose man caretaker, fake notebook forger, cotton dealer, and professional recipient of marriage proposals she didn't ask for. I need a vacation. In a dimension that doesn't have Lu Zekin in it. So while I was racing toward the city on my donkey cart, things at the second textile factory were going spectacularly wrong. Li Wenxiu, my contact, my connection, the girl who vouched for me, was standing behind the factory director looking like she wanted the earth to swallow her whole. It was well past midnight. I was late. Very late. Flood delayed, ex-boyfriend ambushed, contaminated fish argument late. The second factory director, surnamed Zhao, was chain-smoking his way through a nervous breakdown. Li Wenxiu, your reliable little sister, is a scammer. She's probably a spy from third factory. I knew I shouldn't have trusted a teenager. He crushed his cigarette under his boot like it had personally insulted his mother. Meanwhile, the third factory director, the rival, the snake, the guy who'd been secretly sabotaging second factory's cotton supply for months, had been lurking in the shadows the whole time. He'd gotten a tip that second factory found a cotton source and came to investigate. He brought someone from the Commerce Bureau ready to file a report if anything sketchy was happening. But after hiding in the bushes for an hour with zero cotton in sight, he sent his informant home and stepped out looking delighted. Oh, Director Zhao. What a coincidence running into you here. It's the middle of the night. What kind of coincidence happens at 2 a.m. behind a factory? Just passing through, the third factory director smirked, lit a cigarette, and delivered the kill shot. This year's Outstanding Individual Award. I'll be taking that. Thanks in advance. See, there's a policy. 3 consecutive years of Outstanding Individual equals guaranteed promotion. Director Zhao had 2 years already. One more, and he'd level up. Third factory director just started his first year of competing. But it's not about who needs it. It's about results. And with no cotton supply, second factory was circling the drain. The real kicker? Third factory director was the one who cut off second factory's cotton sources in the first place. They were former classmates, apprentice brothers from the same mentor. And as the saying goes, nobody stabs deeper than family. I finally made it into the city. The roads were trashed from the flood, the detours cost me hours, and I passed military rescue teams working in nearby villages along the way.
Didn't stop, though.
I had 1,800 yuan waiting for me, and I was not letting it escape. Shen Xiao hopped off at the factory gate with a quiet, "Thank you," and positioned himself to surprise Li Wenxiu after her shift. The flood had given him a near-death experience, and the one face that flashed through his mind in what he thought were his final moments was hers.
He needed to see her.
Tonight.
Romantic? Yes.
Relevant to my cotton deal?
No. Moving on.
I drove the donkey cart around to the back of the factory, where there was a convenient patch of forest. Perfect for what I needed to do. Bullet, go get the factory director. I'll unload the cotton. You sure you can handle it alone? Alone or not, that's 1,800 yuan. The duck is in my hands, and it is not flying away. Bullet sprinted off. And don't come back without him, I yelled after him. Here's my problem. I'm no longer on the director's trust list. I stood him up. He thinks I'm a fraud. The only way to fix this is to have him physically see 2,000 jean of cotton with his own eyeballs. Before unloading, I chugged an entire flask of spiritual spring water. Instant power-up. Suddenly, I had the strength of approximately 3 farmhands, and I started hauling cotton bales out of my spatial dimension like a human forklift. Now, Qin Xiao, my horizontal companion, was lying on the cart listening to all of this. This man's eyes don't work. His body barely functions. But his ERS? Military-grade surveillance equipment. He heard everything. He could tell we were in a forest. He could hear me grunting and panting, moving what sounded like a massive amount of heavy objects. But the donkey cart had been basically empty when they set out. Where was all this stuff coming from? His brain was doing somersaults. There was nothing on the cart. I know there was nothing on the cart. But she's been moving things for 10 straight minutes. Heavy things. Many heavy things. This is physically impossible.
Am I dead?
Is this the afterlife? That would explain a lot. The talking dog, the endless water supply, the mysterious girl who appears out of nowhere. But wait, I heard Lu Zekin earlier. Did he die too? Are we all dead? No, sir. You are very much alive. You're just trapped in the body of someone who can't move, being carted around by a girl with a secret magical dimension, a talking dog, and an ex-boyfriend problem. This is not the afterlife. This is just my life. Welcome to it. Also, yes, I do talk to my dog. And my dog talks back. And Qin Xiao definitely noticed that our exchanges aren't normal one-sided pet owner babbling. They're full conversations. With turn-taking and everything. Whoops. Probably should have been more careful about that. But in my defense, I thought he was a vegetable. Turns out the vegetable has been recording everything like a biological black box.
Great.
Over at the factory's front gate, Director Zhao was marching back with his staff, absolutely fuming. Li Wenxiu was quietly crying behind them, convinced her life was over. She'd vouched for me. I hadn't shown up, and now her reputation was destroyed. She was spiraling. Dad was right. I'm too trusting. I'm too naive. Shen Xiao probably forgot about me already. There are so many pretty educated youth girls in the village. Why would he choose me? His family already doesn't like me. Her crying got louder. More dramatic. Full ugly cry mode. Director Zhao, patience at absolute zero. What are you crying about? I should be the one crying. I'm almost 50 and I got conned by a child. The factory workers shuffled behind him like a defeated army. They'd come out excited about saving the factory. Now they were trudging back, imagining their families going hungry. Then, from the darkness, Shen Xiao appeared at the gate. Xiu Xiu. Li Wenxiu rubbed her eyes so hard she nearly removed her corneas. Shen Xiao. Was she dreaming? Him? Here? At the factory? At 3 a.m.? After a flood? Every head turned to stare at this mysterious, handsome stranger. And that's when Bullet arrived. My dog, my beautiful, brilliant, absolutely unhinged dog, came rocketing out of the shadows and clamped his jaws directly onto Director Zhao's leg. Aha! Whose dog is this? My leg. My league. The entire crowd whipped their heads from Xin Xiao to the screaming director in perfect unison, like spectators at a tennis match. Bullet was not letting go. His internal monologue while attached to a factory director's calf. Look, I am the handsomest dog in this province, possibly this nation, and I was given one job. Bring this man to the cotton. So we're going to the cotton. Willingly or by tooth. A worker grabbed a stick from the security guard. It's 3 Factory's dog. They're sending dogs to attack us now. I knew 3 Factory was behind this. Wrong dog, wrong factory, wrong accusation, but honestly, at this point, I'll take any distraction that gets Director Zhao moving in the right direction. Bullet started walking backward, still attached to the director's leg, physically dragging the man toward the back of the factory. Director Zhao had no choice but to follow. He hobbled, hopped, and cursed his way behind my dog like the world's angriest leashed human. And the 3rd Factory director? He was walking home, smug and satisfied, victory cigarette in hand, taking a shortcut through the forest behind 2nd Factory, where he stumbled upon 2,000 jean of premium cotton, just sitting there, in the trees, in the middle of the night. His cigarette probably fell right out of his mouth. Where did this come from? The cotton that wasn't supposed to exist. The supply that he'd specifically destroyed all channels for. The resource that should be impossible to obtain. 2,000 jean.
Stacked.
Ready for delivery. His award. His sabotage. His perfect plan. All about to go up in smoke, or rather in cotton. Jiang Ruochu delivers. Late, flood-soaked, donkey-powered, and dog-assisted, but she delivers. So Bullet was literally dragging the 2nd Factory director across the factory grounds by his leg, like a hostage situation but with more drool and less negotiation. The factory workers crept behind them in a nervous procession, nobody daring to intervene because timing a rescue wrong could result in their boss losing an actual limb. The scene looked like a very weird funeral march led by an angry dog. Meanwhile, back at the factory gate, Shen Xiao and Li Wenxiu were having their romantic reunion. Moon peeking through clouds, nobody around. He kissed her forehead. She turned red as a tomato. Young love. Very sweet. Completely irrelevant to my cotton deal, but I'm happy for them. You came all this way? How? She whispered. Jiang Ruochu gave me a ride on her donkey cart. Li Wenxiu's head snapped up. Jiang Ruochu? She's here. She broke free from Shen Zhao's arms and sprinted toward the factory. The man had traveled through a flood to surprise her, and she literally ran away from him mid-hug. But in her defense, my cotton delivery was about to save her career. Romance can wait. Professional survival cannot. I had just finished hauling every last bale of cotton out of my spatial dimension. 2,000 jean. In the dark. Alone. In a forest behind a factory. After drinking an entire flask of spiritual spring water for super strength. I was soaked in sweat, freezing in the autumn night air, shivering. But the cotton was out. The product was ready. The 1,800 yuan was within reach. Then I heard footsteps. They got here fast, but it wasn't Director Zhao. It was some random man standing in my cotton pile, fondling my merchandise like he was at a department store. Young lady, is this your cotton? I couldn't see his face clearly in the dark. Obviously it's mine. Did you bring the money? Yes. This looks like about 2,000 jean? How about 2,000 yuan? Wait. 2,000? Director Zhao and I agreed on 1,800. This guy was offering more. And then it clicked, this wasn't Director Zhao at all. Who are you? Before he could answer, I saw a mob approaching through the trees. Leading the charge was Bullet, still clamped onto Director Zhao's leg like a furry ankle bracelet, towing the man toward me with the determination of a tugboat pulling an ocean liner. Hey, I told you to invite the director over. This is how you invite someone? By eating his leg, Director Zhao's calf was going to need months of recovery. I've seen dogs fetch sticks with less enthusiasm than Bullet fetching this man. My dog interpreted, bring him here as physically attach yourself to his body and drag him through the darkness, which, technically, achieved the objective. Points for results, minus several hundred for method. The mystery man turned out to be the 3rd factory director, the rival, the saboteur, the snake who'd been systematically destroying 2nd Factory's cotton supply to win an awards competition. He tried to cut a deal before Director Zhao could arrive. Whatever he's paying you, I'll add 300. Sell to me. 300 extra yuan. In this era, that's enough to feed a large family for an entire year. He was dangling life-changing money in front of a teenager in a dark forest. And he watched my face, looking for weakness, looking for greed, thinking, every person has a price. She'll crack. Director Zhao heard everything, and his heart was sinking. We had no written contract. Couldn't have won, since this whole transaction was technically, let's call it gray market. It was a verbal agreement. Nothing binding. If I took the higher offer, he had zero legal recourse. Bullet finally released Director Zhao's leg. The factory workers saw the cotton, and their jaws hit the forest floor. 2,000 jean of premium cotton. White, fluffy, beautiful. Their mouths stretched into grins, so wide their ears were in danger. The girl didn't lie. The cotton was real. But 3 Factories director was right there, waving extra money.
Here's the thing about me.
Am I a money lover? Absolutely. Do I see 300 extra yuan and feel my pupils dilate? You bet. But Jiang Ruochu keeps her word. A deal is a deal. I shook on it with Director Zhao, and that handshake means more than any bonus. I looked past 3 Factories director at the limping, bleeding, dog-bitten Director Zhao hobbling toward me and said, Director Zhao, I apologize for the delay. The flood messed up the roads, and I had to change the drop-off location. I hope this hasn't disrupted your operations too badly. Director Zhao froze. The rival was offering more money, significantly more, and this teenager was honoring her original deal? 3 Factories director couldn't compute. Are you serious right now? I turned to the 2nd factory workers. What are you all standing around for? Grab the cotton. It might rain again. They erupted into action, grabbing bales, practically hugging the cotton as they carried it inside. Li Wenxiu arrived to see her co-workers parading past her like it was Christmas morning. Wenxiu, your little sister So Bullet was literally dragging the 2nd factory director across the factory grounds by his leg, like a hostage situation but with more drool and less negotiation. The factory workers crept behind them in a nervous procession, nobody daring to intervene because timing a rescue wrong could result in their boss losing an actual limb. The scene looked like a very weird funeral march led by an angry dog. Meanwhile, back at the factory gate, Shen Xiao and Li Wenxiu were having their romantic reunion. Moon peeking through clouds, nobody around. He kissed her forehead. She turned red as a tomato. Young love. Very sweet. Completely irrelevant to my cotton deal, but I'm happy for them. You came all this way? How? She whispered. Jiang Ruochu gave me a ride on her donkey cart. Li Wenxiu's head snapped up. Jiang Ruochu? She's here. She broke free from Shen Zhao's arms and sprinted toward the factory. The man had traveled through a flood to surprise her, and she literally ran away from him mid-hug. But in her defense, my cotton delivery was about to save her career. Romance can wait. Professional survival cannot. I had just finished hauling every last bale of cotton out of my spatial dimension. 2,000 jean. In the dark. Alone. In a forest behind a factory. After drinking an entire flask of spiritual spring water for super strength. I was soaked in sweat, freezing in the autumn night air, shivering. But the cotton was out. The product was ready. The 1,800 yuan was within reach. Then I heard footsteps. They got here fast, but it wasn't Director Zhao. It was some random man standing in my cotton pile, fondling my merchandise like he was at a department store. Young lady, is this your cotton? I couldn't see his face clearly in the dark. Obviously it's mine. Did you bring the money? Yes. This looks like about 2,000 jean? How about 2,000 yuan? Wait. 2,000? Director Zhao and I agreed on 1,800. This guy was offering more. And then it clicked, this wasn't Director Zhao at all. Who are you? Before he could answer, I saw a mob approaching through the trees. Leading the charge was Bullet, still clamped onto Director Zhao's leg like a furry ankle bracelet, towing the man toward me with the determination of a tugboat pulling an ocean liner. Hey, I told you to invite the director over. This is how you invite someone? By eating his leg. Director Zhao's calf was going to need months of recovery. I've seen dogs fetch sticks with less enthusiasm than Bullet fetching this man. My dog interpreted bring him here as physically attach yourself to his body and drag him through the darkness, which, technically, achieved the objective. Points for results, minus several hundred for method. The mystery man turned out to be the third factory director, the rival, the saboteur, the snake who'd been systematically destroying second factory's cotton supply to win an awards competition. He tried to cut a deal before Director Zhao could arrive. Whatever he's paying you, I'll add 300. Sell to me. 300 extra yuan. In this era, that's enough to feed a large family for an entire year. He was dangling life-changing money in front of a teenager in a dark forest. And he watched my face, looking for weakness, looking for greed, thinking, every person has a price. She'll crack. Director Zhao heard everything, and his heart was sinking. We had no written contract. Couldn't have one, since this whole transaction was technically, let's call it gray market. It was a verbal agreement. Nothing binding. If I took the higher offer, he had zero legal recourse. Bullet finally released Director Zhao's leg. The factory workers saw the cotton and their jaws hit the forest floor. 2,000 jean of premium cotton. White, fluffy, beautiful. Their mouths stretched into grins, so wide their ears were in danger. The girl didn't lie. The cotton was real. But Three Factories' director was right there, waving extra money.
Here's the thing about me.
Am I a money lover? Absolutely. Do I see 300 extra yuan and feel my pupils dilate? You bet. But Jiang Ruochu keeps her word. A deal is a deal. I shook on it with Director Zhao, and that handshake means more than any bonus. I looked past Three Factories' director at the limping, bleeding, dog-bitten Director Zhao hobbling toward me and said, Director Zhao, I apologize for the delay. The flood messed up the roads, and I had to change the drop-off location. I hope this hasn't disrupted your operations too badly. Director Zhao froze. The rival was offering more money, significantly more, and this teenager was honoring her original deal? Three Factories' director couldn't compute. Are you serious right now? I turned to the second factory workers. What are you all standing around for? Grab the cotton. It might rain again. They erupted into action, grabbing bales, practically hugging the cotton as they carried it inside. Li Wenxiu arrived to see her co-workers parading past her like it was Christmas morning. Wenxiu, your little sister just saved this factory. You've done us a huge service. Hey Wenxiu, what's your sister's deal? She's single? Think she'd go for a guy like me? I could be your brother-in-law. Move your cotton and stop dreaming. That girl's standards are way above your pay grade. Qin Xiao, lying on the donkey cart, unable to see or speak but hearing everything, caught that last comment about someone wanting to date me, and his face went dark under his bandages. Not that anyone could tell. Excuse me? Some random factory worker thinks he can pursue her? Possessive already, and the man can't even open his eyes. The audacity of the horizontal. Three Factories' director stood there like a statue, completely ignored. Invisible. Furniture. He tried one more time to speak. Comrade, could you move? You're blocking the path. I said it with the emotional warmth of a tax notice. He nearly choked on his own tongue. This man has spent years stealing cotton deals from Second Factory using exactly this tactic, swooping in last minute with a higher bid. It's worked every single time. And tonight, for the first time, he met someone who said no thanks to free money because a handshake actually meant something. His worldview was crumbling. Business people who keep their word? In this economy? Director Zhao was almost in tears, thanking me. This man has spent his entire career doing honest work, serving the people, refusing to play political games, and getting stomped by slimy operators who know how to schmooze leadership. He doesn't kiss up. He speaks truth. And the system keeps punishing him for it. Tonight, honest Director Zhao wins. For once. Then Three Factories' director played his last card, the nuclear option. I'm reporting you. This is speculation and profiteering. Private buying and selling of agricultural products is illegal. You'll all be paraded through the streets. You'll go to prison. He wasn't bluffing. In this era, private trade of crops is genuinely criminal. People caught speculating get publicly humiliated, marched through town with signs around their necks, then thrown in jail. Director Zhao knew the risk when he agreed to this deal. He did it anyway because hundreds of factory families depend on those jobs. But I didn't flinch. Not even a blink. Go ahead. Report us. But you'll have to explain how you knew about this transaction. Which means explaining why you were lurking behind a rival factory at 3 a.m. trying to steal their cotton supply. Let's see if your position survives that investigation. I cracked my wrist casually. Besides, how do you know this cotton wasn't voluntarily donated by thousands of patriotic citizens? Where's your evidence that any buying or selling occurred? Did you see money change hands? No? Then what exactly are you reporting? 3 factories' director's legs went weak. His vision blurred. He played his trump card, and I flipped it back in his face. If he reports us, he exposes himself. His sabotage. His midnight stalking. His attempted bribery. Everything unravels. Checkmate. 2,000 jean of cotton delivered. 1,800 yuan. Incoming. 3 factories director. Neutralized. Director Zhao's career. Saved. Bullets bite record. 1 director's leg, no regrets. And me, standing in a forest at 3 a.m., soaking wet, shivering, having just outnegotiated 2 factory directors, physically hauled a ton of cotton with magical spring water power-ups, and ethically destroyed a corporate saboteur with nothing but logic and nerve. Not bad for a girl on a donkey cart. So the 3rd factory director was standing alone in an empty forest, surrounded by nothing but his own failure and the lingering scent of cotton that was no longer there. His internal meltdown was spectacular. He couldn't report us because he'd incriminate himself. He couldn't prove the cotton was purchased because he had no evidence. He couldn't find where I got it because, surprise, it came from a magical dimension that doesn't exist on any map. He was muttering to himself like a Disney villain after the hero escapes. Just you wait. Nobody does this just once. I'll find your source. I have the biggest network in Black City. Nobody outconnections me. Sir, your network could cover the entire planet and you still wouldn't find my supplier. My supplier is a floating island in a pocket dimension managed by a spirit companion. Good luck filing that in your intelligence report. He was also stuck on one question. How does a teenage girl transport 2,000 jean of cotton to a forest behind a factory in the middle of the night after flood?
No truck.
No cart big enough. No workers.
Just.
Appears. Buddy, that question is going to eat you alive, and the answer will never come. Enjoy the insomnia. Director Zhao brought me to his office, door wide open, because he's the kind of man who understands that a young woman's reputation matters, and closed doors breed rumors.
Respect.
Genuine respect. He pulled out his best tea leaves, but I waved them off. Director Zhao, I appreciate the gesture, but hot tea takes forever to cool, and I've got a patient on a donkey cart outside. Let's just do the money and I'll go. He unlocked his drawer and pulled out 1,800 yuan. Pre-counted. Pre-prepared. This man had the cash ready despite not fully believing I'd deliver. That's either faith or desperation, and honestly, at this point, what's the difference? Then I asked him to exchange some of the bills for coins. Coins? That many coins will be heavy and conspicuous. Let me send someone to escort you. Director Zhao, I have my dog. Who's going to rob me? He looked at his mangled, bloody leg and laughed nervously. Your dog is. Not ordinary. I glanced at his leg, still bleeding, tooth marks deep, looking absolutely horrible, and felt a pang of guilt. About your leg. Maybe I should take less money. He waved both hands. Take every cent. Not one fin less. This leg got me a cotton supply that saves my factory. Best trade I ever made. This man just got his calf shredded by my dog, and he's calling it a bargain. Director Zhao, you are a national treasure, and I will protect you at all costs. While he wasn't looking, I slipped all the paper bills into my spatial storage. Poof, gone, invisible, safe, and threw the bag of coins over my shoulder. Heavy but manageable after all that spiritual spring water. Li Wenxiu knocked on the door, beaming. I almost forgot the most important part. Director Zhao, about Li Wenxiu's employment status? Consider it done.
Right now.
Tonight. Full-time permanent position, effective immediately. He sent someone to wake up the HR officer. At 3 a.m., dragged the man out of bed to process paperwork. Internal thought. Ah yes. Bosses are the same in every era. Emergency overtime knows no century. Sleeping at home? Too bad. You're processing an employment contract at 3 a.m. because the boss said so. Universal truth. HR never rests when the boss needs something. Future collaborations are always welcome, I said as I left. Director Zhao smiled nervously. He wasn't ready for another round of this. His leg needed time. His nerves needed time. But I was already thinking ahead. Reform and opening up is right around the corner. In a few years, deals like this won't be gray market. They'll be normal business. I'm going to need bigger bags. Possibly sacks. Actually, just give me a wheelbarrow for all the money I'm about to make. At the factory gate, Shen Xiao was still waiting for Li Wenxiu. This man stood outside a factory for hours in the middle of the night after surviving a flood just to see his girl. If that's not love, I don't know what is. Li Wenxiu ran out with her shiny new permanent employment contract. I got the job.
Full-time.
Now your family has to accept me, right? Shen Xiao smiled and nodded. But I could sense the truth he wasn't saying. His family back in Beijing has already arranged a match for him. Some high-society girl from a prestigious family, waiting for his return. A factory position in a small county town isn't going to impress the Shin family. They want pedigree, not paperwork. But that's their battle to fight. I've done my part. The rest is up to love versus classism, and historically, that's a brutal matchup. I loaded up and drove the donkey cart to the hospital. Qin Xiao needed his bandages changed, and I had the time. The nurse at the front desk recognized me instantly. Oh, it's you. Brought your man back for a checkup?
I honestly thought you'd dumped him by now.
At least you have some conscience. I opened my mouth to correct her. He is not my man, then closed it. What's the point? She won't believe me. We'll probably never meet again. Let her think whatever she wants. Save my energy for things that matter. He's not my, sure. Come on, let's unwrap him. She started removing Qin Zhao's bandages and her eyebrows shot up. This healing is incredible. In this short a time, this is borderline miraculous. Internally, I was preening. Of course it is. This man has been drinking spiritual spring water daily. His cells are practically throwing a regeneration party in there. You're welcome, medical science. The doctor arrived, ran tests, and started removing all the bandages. Every layer, every wrap, which meant
he was about to be completely exposed.
I spun around so fast, I nearly gave myself whiplash. I'll be outside. The nurse grabbed my arm. Where do you think you're going?
Help me.
Disinfect and rebandage your man. I've got emergency patients flooding in. He is not my... Look, I've been doing this job for years. Bodies are bodies. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's medical. Then she bent down, looked at a specific region, and frowned. Is this swollen? Or was it always this size? Did you do something to it? Or did you too? My face caught fire. Not a metaphor. My face was so hot you could have fried an egg on my cheekbones. I was red from my hairline to my collarbones. We didn't. The swelling was probably from the failed catheter attempt last visit. Nothing scandalous. But the nurse's implications were painting a very different picture, and I wanted the floor to open up and consume me whole. I need to get this man a chamber pot. Something. Anything so we never have to discuss his bathroom situation in public again. The black market probably has won. Adding, by urinal, to my midnight shopping list, right between sell cotton and question all my life choices. The nurse left to handle emergencies, leaving me alone with a mostly unwrapped, mostly naked military man who I've been claiming as just a patient for weeks while every single person I meet assumes we're married. Go ahead and start disinfecting. I'll be back, she called over her shoulder. I stood there, medical supplies in hand, patient in front of me, eyes firmly directed at the ceiling.
I'm Jiang Ruochu.
I forge research notebooks. I outsmart factory directors. I survive floods. I face down reborn villains. But this? A shirtless man who needs wound care in places I've never seen on any man? This is where my courage fails me. Someone get me a blindfold and a very long pair of tongs. The nurse rattled off instructions on how to disinfect and apply medicine, then vanished like a magician who just dropped a live grenade in my lap.
Wait.
We're in emergency too. Hello, gone.
She was gone.
Just me, a room full of medical supplies, and a mostly naked comatose military man whose entire body needed treatment. Bullet burst back in. Update, a whole crowd just showed up. Food poisoning. Looks bad. Collective food poisoning? Go find out what they ate so we know what to avoid, he zoomed off. 2 minutes later, zoomed back. It's our village. Pear Tree Village. They ate the floodfish. Called. IT. I literally called it. Standing in the middle of that crowd, begging them not to eat contaminated fish, and they looked at me like I was the crazy one. Not dry, not dirty, eat it, no worry, they said. It's so fresh, they said. Well, now they're draped across every available surface of this hospital. Floor, chairs, walls, corners, looking like a zombie apocalypse, but with more diarrhea. The nurses were running around like headless chickens. Is this Pear Tree Village night at the hospital? What is happening? They ate floodfish. We literally have public health posters about this. Nobody reads them. Xiaoyi, doubled over and barely conscious from the runs, still had the audacity to argue. Well, nobody came to our village to announce it, ma'am. I personally stood in front of you and said, this fish will kill you. You chose the fish. The fish chose violence. Cause and effect. Elementary.
Now.
Back to MY crisis. I was standing in that hospital room with disinfecting supplies in my hands, staring at my patient, trying to figure out how to do this without my soul leaving my body. I deeply regretted not fighting harder with the nurse about the whole "he's not my husband" thing. If I'd just insisted, maybe she wouldn't have left me alone with
this
situation.
But no.
Every time I've tried to explain, it makes things worse. Last time I denied it, the nurse accused me of abandoning my man, and I got death stares from half the hospital. The heartless wife label was somehow worse than the married to a comatose stranger label. So I just stopped correcting people. And now here I am, paying the price for my silence. In full. Qin Xiao wasn't doing any better emotionally. He could feel me standing next to him, my body heat, my presence, and he was burning up too. This man has faced combat without flinching. He's charged into enemy fire with a steady heartbeat. But right now, having a girl stand near his exposed body, he was more nervous than any battlefield has ever made him. I took a deep breath, turned around, let my eyes travel from his face downward. His face. Let me just
take a moment.
I'd never actually looked at his face before. Swollen, scarred, bruised, but underneath all that damage, strong jawline, high nose bridge, sculpted features. This man is handsome. Like, objectively, medically, scientifically handsome. That nose. High and straight. Somehow proportional to what's happening in here. Bullet burst through the door without knocking, shattering my thoughts like a brick through a window. What? Don't you know how to knock? I snapped, way too aggressively for the situation, sounding exactly like someone who'd been caught doing something she shouldn't. Bullet, being the genius he is, read the room in 0.3 seconds. Oh. Should I leave? And oh. Just tell me what you found out. He looked me up and down. In 2 lifetimes of knowing me, he had never seen me this red. My face, my neck, my ears, everything was crimson. I looked like a human tomato. Are you sick? Did someone boil you? Why are you this color? I touched my face.
It's
the wind. Probably the wind. The wind. In a closed hospital room with no windows open. Sure, Ruochu. Very convincing. Confirmed. It's our village people. Floodfish. They're all down. Every single one who ate it. Serves them right. I warned them. Bullet reported his findings, then quietly walked out and gently closed the door with his paw. He sat outside like a guard dog, not letting anyone in. He had a weird feeling in his chest. Something he couldn't name. His girl was growing up. Things were changing. I gave myself the world's most aggressive pep talk. You are a medical professional right now. This is healthcare. There is nothing inappropriate about treating a patient's wounds. Doctors see bodies every day. This is normal. This is fine. Then I looked down and, what in the... How is it that swollen? Or wait, is it swollen? Or is it just naturally? I have no frame of reference. I've never seen anyone else's. Is this normal? Is this concerning? Is this a medical issue or a genetic blessing? The nurse asked earlier if it was swollen or always like this. She asked if I did something to it. She asked if I want to die. I want the floor to open up, swallow me, and deposit me in a dimension where I never have to think about this again. I touched him with the cotton swab and I swear this isn't my imagination. He trembled. His whole body shuddered. Did I hurt you? I softened my touch. What I didn't know, Qin Xiao wasn't trembling from pain. This man, who has zero interest in women, who has rejected every girl who's ever pursued him, whose emotional intelligence is so low his comrades have given up on his love life, who cares about nothing except his gun and his bullets, felt his heart explode when I touched him. The nurse unwrapping his bandages? Nothing. Zero reaction. Professional hands on his body? Whatever. My hands? Cardiac event. He didn't understand what was happening to him. He'd never felt this before. In his entire life. Not once. I got more confident as I worked. Head to toe, disinfect everything, apply medicine, systematic and thorough. By the time the nurse came back, I'd done the entire lower half myself. Impressive. You're a natural. Great job. She finished the upper body wrapping. Mummy status. Restored. How are the food poisoning patients? I asked. She sighed. One's in the ICU. Might not make it. Sobering. Really sobering. I warned them. I begged them. And now someone might die because they ate a free fish. Out in the hallway, Kang Sisi was slumped against Lu Zekin, hooked 2 and 4, looking like death warmed over. Jiang Ruochu must have poisoned the water. How else would she know the fish was dangerous? Lu Zekin, exhausted beyond human limits. Could you please stop blaming her for everything? Did she have a chance to poison an entire river? With what? The doctor said the fish were contaminated by floodwater. They told you not to eat them. You didn't listen. And now it's her fault. Kang Sisi wanted to punch him but literally didn't have the strength to raise her arm. She'd been on the toilet so long she was basically dehydrated jerky at this point. You're always defending her. You always say that. I used to defend you the same way. Look where that got me. Oof. The man finally sees the pattern. He spoiled Kang Sisi. She got worse. He defended her against everyone. She got more entitled. And now he's watching the exact same playbook from the outside and thinking, oh, so that's what that looks like. I wheeled Qin Xiao out of the room and into the hallway of horrors, moaning villagers everywhere, IVs dangling, the smell of regret thick in the air. One villager groaned, Comrade Jiang, we should have listened to you, spent money and suffered for nothing. Another, it's our fault for being greedy. A third, pointing at Kang Sisi, it's her fault. She started the fish catching. Without her leading the charge, we wouldn't have touched them. Kang Sisi tried to stand up and fight, but her body was basically jelly. She could barely keep her eyes open, let alone throw hands. The nurse shut everyone down. All of you, this is a hospital, not your living room. Save your energy for recovering instead of arguing. As I walked past Kang Sisi's spot, she watched me approach, upright, healthy, confident, smiling just slightly, and it burned her. Here she was, poisoned by her own greed, and here I was, untouched, victorious, pushing a man through the hallway like I owned the place. Her fists clenched under the 4 tubes. Then the 2 nurses walking beside me had a lovely, very audible conversation. She's really skilled. Very professional. She did his entire lower body herself, disinfection, medicine, bandaging, everything. Really? We should recruit her. Comrade, want a nursing job here. They said this as they walked right past Lu Zekin. He heard every word. His entire lower body. She saw everything. She touched everything. His brain short-circuited. 5 thunderbolts of pure anguish struck simultaneously. The woman he's been desperately trying to win back just spent an hour intimately treating another man's naked body, and the hospital staff is praising her for how well she did it. Lu Zekin stood there, eyes bloodshot, world crumbling. And me? I kept walking. Didn't even glance his way. I have a patient to transport. A donkey cart to drive, a village to save, and exactly 0 time for the romantic feelings of a man whose love language is manipulate you with information about your missing father. Tonight's scorecard: cotton delivered, 1,800 yuan collected, Li Wenxiu employed, fish poisoning survivors saved by my warning, majority Lu Zekin's heart, Kang Sisi's dignity, my composure while handling a handsome man's situation. Barely survived, 2 out of 10, would not recommend, let's never speak of this again. I walked past Lu Zekin with my face frozen in the world's most awkward smile. You know the one. The smile you wear when you've just been publicly announced as having personally handled a naked man's entire lower body, and the guy you used to be engaged to heard every word. Kang Sisi, hooked up to N4 and barely alive from diarrhea, somehow found the energy to be gleeful about this. Her internal celebration. Perfect. Everyone heard it. Jiang Ruochu saw that cripple's body. She's ruined now. No man will ever want her. She can never marry anyone else. Her stomach cramps magically improved. But stopped hurting. Her mood went from dying on the toilet to best day of my life in 3 seconds flat. This woman's happiness is literally powered by my misfortune. She's like a solar panel, except instead of sunlight, she runs on my embarrassment. She was already planning her next moves: study for the teacher exam, with stolen answers from her past life, continue sucking up to Ru Xianghua and find a way to win over Xin Xiao. Build the network. Expand the web. She looked at Lu Zekin staring after me and sneered. Stop looking. She's someone else's woman now. Lu Zekin watched me walk away, and his thoughts were,
Not romantic. Not really.
His internal monologue revealed everything. I will get Jiang Ruochu back. Her and her connections. Love doesn't matter. What matters is having her under my control. So there it is. Stripped of all the poetry and, you are my life, nonsense. Lu Zekin doesn't love me. He wants to own me. I'm an asset, not a person. A network node, not a partner. Good thing I already kicked him off the donkey cart.
Twice.
Meanwhile, my brother Jiang Dawei and his search team were so close to me tonight. They'd been doing flood rescue in a nearby village, the one I drove past on my way to the city. We were practically within shouting distance, and neither of us knew. He's still looking for Qin Xiao. 3 search teams are covering different areas, planning to meet in 3 days at the town to share information. One of his soldiers was getting discouraged. Captain Jiang, even if someone survived on the mountain, the flood probably washed them away. My brother knew the math. If Qin Xiao survived the initial explosion, the days without help, and now a flood, the odds were approaching 0. Wild animals, exposure, starvation, any one of those could have finished the job. Back at the military base, Commander Wang was lying in a hospital bed, still refusing to accept reality. Xiao Cheng, you saw the explosion? How powerful was it? Cheng Che, the soldier who witnessed it, could barely speak through his tears. Commander, the blast radius was enormous. I was nearly at the base of the mountain, and it still knocked me down. This man has been having nightmares every single night. Qin Xiao crawling through blood, dragging himself forward. Cheng Che wakes up multiple times a night drenched in sweat. The military counselors have been trying to help, but the trauma is deep. Talking to Commander Wang is the only time he seems somewhat normal. He never even had a real romance, Cheng Che whispered. Never married. Never had kids.
Cut down in his prime.
I wish it had been me instead. Heavy stuff. Really heavy. And here I am, the girl unknowingly keeping Qin Xiao alive with magical spring water and cotton swabs, having no idea how many people are out there mourning a man who's actually lying on my donkey cart. Now for the cute part. The part that made me smile when I pieced it together later. Another search team, led by a man named Fu Yan, a political instructor, stopped by our village for water. It was barely dawn. Most people were still sleeping. My sister Ruodong was at the village well, deliberately going early to avoid people. The rumors about her being pregnant had spread everywhere, thanks Kang Sisi, and she didn't want the stares, the whispers, the pointing. She was wearing her favorite Balaji dress. She only puts it on when she thinks nobody's watching. hair falling in her face, struggling to haul up a full bucket of water. 1 meter up, half a meter back down. 1 meter up, half a meter back down. Then a pair of hands appeared. Let me help. Fu Yan, in his green military uniform. Tall, helpful, smiling. Ruodong gave him this tiny, slightly awkward smile. Thank you. Her voice was barely above a whisper. He asked for water for his team. She filled every single canteen. He pulled up another full bucket for her. His soldiers offered to carry it home. She refused.
Too shy.
Too independent. Wouldn't let strangers know where she lives. As she walked away with her heavy bucket, she turned back once and smiled. My brother is a soldier too. Thank you all for helping with the flood. Fu Yan grinned. Really? What's his name? Maybe we know him. Jiang Ruochu, she said proudly. Then she turned and didn't look back again.
Fu Yan froze.
Jiang Ruochu's sister? The sister? The one someone tried to set up with Qin Shao? The one Qin Shao rejected? The one I said I'd like to meet? A soldier scratched his head. Wait, Captain Jiang said his sister was tall, dark, and skinny. This girl is
pretty
and pale. Another soldier smacked the back of his head. Idiot. We'll ask Captain Jiang later if his sister is in Pear Tree Village. Fu Yan kept turning around as they walked away. Every few steps, another backward glance. Until she disappeared completely. One thought echoed in his military brain. Qin Shao doesn't want her? Then don't blame a brother for making his move. Fu Yan, political instructor of the People's Liberation Army, had just experienced love at first sight. His smile was so wide his subordinates noticed. Sir, why is your face red? It's hot, okay, it was dawn. In autumn, after flood, the temperature was maybe 10 degrees. Sure, Commander. Hot. Absolutely. After the hospital, I didn't go straight home. Dawn was breaking and the farmer's market was opening, and I had a craving. Braised pig intestines. Large intestines specifically. I bought a mountain of pig offal, tripe, intestines, all the weird, wonderful stuff. Nearly missed out too, because apparently I'm not the only weirdo who loves this stuff. Had to elbow my way to the front. Aggressive shopping. My second best skill after aggressive negotiating. Bullet turned his head away in disgust. You're eating that stinky stuff again? What man is ever going to kiss you? Then I'll find one who likes kissing butts. Bullet's jaw dropped so far it nearly touched the ground. Could you please have one normal conversation? You're a young lady, and you're an old fossil. A feudal relic. We bickered while I loaded my purchases onto the cart. Qin Shao was at the supply store, so he missed our entire conversation, which is probably for the best. What I forgot, again, is that Qin Shao can hear everything. Every single word. I've been treating him like a potted plant for weeks, saying absolutely whatever comes into my head with zero filter, and this man has been recording it all like a human voice memo. His internal reaction to, I'll find one who likes kissing butts, I definitely misheard that. Definitely. There's no way she said no. I misheard.
Moving on.
Erasing that from memory.
Done.
Deleted. It was not deleted. It was filed permanently in the things about this girl that keep me up at night folder, which is growing at an alarming rate. I also scouted building materials for a new house. Winter is coming and my family needs proper shelter. The application to the commune is already submitted. Just waiting on approval. If everything goes well, we'll have a real home before the first snow. While waiting for Qin Shao on the cart, I spotted two familiar figures in the distance. A mother and son, far from where they should be. What are they doing all the way out here? Something told me this wasn't a coincidence. Nothing in Pear Tree Village ever is. Time to find out what's cooking. And I don't mean the pig intestines. So earlier, while I was sitting on my donkey cart waiting for Qin Shao, I spotted them, Zhang Jiawang and his mother, coming out of the supply store loaded with gifts and supplements, climbing onto a hired donkey cart headed toward Pear Tree Village. Zhang Jiawang, when sober, looks like a completely normal human being. He was nervously adjusting his clothes. Mom, do I look okay? Do you think Ruodong will come back with us? His mother was straightening his collar, like he was heading to prom. My boy is always handsome. Any girl would swoon. And she's carrying your child. Where else is she going to go? Be a single mother? In this era, she has no choice. She was confident. Annoyingly confident. But underneath that smugness, she was already planning her power move. When I see that daughter-in-law, I'm putting her in her place. Married into the Jiang family means following Jiang family rules. She also had this delightful theory that my sister deliberately spread her own pregnancy rumors to lure Zhang Jiawang into coming to get her. Because apparently, in this woman's world, the victim is always the mastermind and the abuser is always the innocent party. What a charming family. Can't imagine why my sister ran away. I got home and heard the war before I saw it. Screaming, crashing, the sound of objects being hurled across a courtyard. I walked through the gate to find the Zhang family's carefully selected gifts scattered across the ground like battlefield debris, and Jiang's mother standing in the center of our yard with her hair wild, hands on hips, unleashing verbal napalm. Qiao Shufang, you crazy woman. Your daughter couldn't keep her legs closed, my son got her pregnant, and we came all this way to take her home like decent people, and you won't let her go? You even pulled my hair. Mom had already gone full mama bear. She was standing between this woman and my sister, like a human shield made of pure maternal fury. I know my own daughter. I don't need you lecturing me. Take your garbage gifts and get out. If my daughter wants to keep this baby, we'll raise it. We'll raise the grandchild. We don't need a single thing from your family.
Get
out. The walls were lined with spectators. Every neighbor within earshot had shown up with their metaphorical popcorn. Village entertainment at its finest. My sister Ruodong was standing quietly, drowning in guilt. She blamed herself for the pregnancy, for the shame it brought on our family, for the whispers and stares. She'd thought about reporting Zhang Jiawang to the police back when he assaulted her. But then she worried. What if she was pregnant? The child would grow up with a criminal father. An adult can handle stigma. A child can't. So she stayed silent. And now, the pregnancy she feared was real. Shin Nana was wielding an iron shovel like a warrior princess. Old Zhang lunatic. Your son is a predator. My sister didn't even know how babies are made. He tricked her. You should be thanking us for not pressing assault charges. And you have the nerve to show up acting righteous. Zhang's mother, unfazed. Your sister is the tramp who seduced my son. Back when your family was in trouble, you sent her to us. We took her in out of kindness. Now you're throwing it in our faces? My son could have any woman he wants. Zhang Jiawang stood there like a wet noodle. The man allegedly loves my sister but couldn't open his mouth to defend her while his mother publicly called her every degrading name in the book. Just tugging his mom's sleeve whispering, please stop, useless. Absolutely useless. A man who beats women behind closed doors but can't stand up to his own mother in public. Textbook coward. My sister saw it all clearly. She used to love him. Back when things were good between them, it was genuine. But she walked away for a reason, and watching him cower while his mother destroyed her reputation confirmed every decision she'd made. I didn't bother with words. I picked up a rock from the ground and launched it at Jiang's mother. Relax. I wasn't trying to kill her. That would be illegal, and I don't do illegal. I aimed for the shoulder blade. A nice, solid hit to knock the wind out of her sails.
thwack.
Direct hit. She stumbled. Satisfying. Old Zhang fool. Yes, our family sent my sister to yours when we were in trouble. Yes, you took her in. But how did you treat her? Let's tell everyone here. Your son beat my sister every time he had a bad day. You, the mother-in-law, stood there making sarcastic comments while he did it. What woman would stay in that house? She wasn't running. She was surviving. One more day, and you might have beaten her to death. I still remember the first time I treated my sister's wounds. The bruises, the swelling, the cuts that went deep enough to scar. I have never forgotten what I saw, and I never will. Who doesn't fight in a marriage? Zhang's mother shot back, still rubbing her shoulder. Every couple argues. She runs home over a little disagreement and never comes back? How are they supposed to live? A little disagreement. He beat her until she couldn't walk. And you call that a family matter? If she'd stayed, she'd be dead, and you'd call that a family matter too. Jiang's mother, delusional to the end. He wasn't trying to hurt her, just teach her a lesson. It was all because of that love letter. He was just scaring her. He held back. If he really hit hard, do you think she'd be standing here? I was speechless. The logic was so broken it had come full circle into insanity. People on the walls had opinions, of course. Some village geniuses. Well, if she was getting love letters from other men, she deserved it. Others with functioning brains. Ruodong doesn't seem like that type. Something's fishy about that letter. And isn't that guy overreacting? When the love letter was mentioned, I caught something. Kang Sisi, standing in the crowd, flinched. She quietly stepped backward, trying to disappear into the mass of spectators. Oh, I see you. She suddenly decided the drama wasn't interesting anymore and dragged Lu Zekin away to fix a collapsed roof at the Educated Youth Station. Very convenient timing. I filed that reaction away. That letter is going to trace back to you, Kang Sisi. And when it does, I won't need a rock. I'll need a shovel. That love letter was a setup, I announced to the crowd. Someone planted it to destroy my sister's marriage. And when I find out who, I will personally remove a layer of skin from their body. From somewhere near the Educated Youth Station, I'm pretty sure I heard Kang Sisi trip off a chair. Jiang's mother, sensing she was losing the PR battle, shifted tactics, softened her voice, went into reasonable mother-in-law mode. I won't argue with the child. Let me talk to the mother. Qiao Shufang, look, the girl is pregnant. Country life isn't good for the baby. We came in good faith to bring her home. Everything is Jiawang's fault. He'll apologize. Just let her come back to the city with us. Please? She wouldn't have lowered herself like this except Zhang Jiawang was literally begging her in whispers beside her. This mama's boy has been spoiled since birth. Whatever he wants, she delivers. Then the nuclear option. Zhang Jiawang dropped to his knees in front of my mother. Full kowtow. Maximum dramatic impact. Emma, please let Ruodong come home with me. If not for me, think of your grandchild. I inhaled sharply. This was the moment I'd been dreading. In the original book, this is where everything falls apart. Zhang Jiawang kneels. My sister's heart melts. She forgives him, goes back to the city, and walks straight back into hell. Because my sister has a weakness. She's kind. She forgives. She sees a man on his knees crying, and her anger dissolves into sympathy. It's the most beautiful and most dangerous thing about her. I looked at her face. She was watching Zhang Jiawang kneel. Her expression was wavering.
No. 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 No.
Not this time. Not in this timeline. Not on MY watch. I didn't claw my way through floods, cotton deals, fake notebooks, and contaminated fish arguments just to watch my sister walk back into an abuser's arms because he learned how to cry on command. This story is getting a different ending. I'll make sure of it. So Zhang Jiawang was on his knees, tears streaming, playing the think of the grandchild card, and every busybody in the village was lining up to push my sister back into the arms of her abuser. It was like watching a support group for terrible advice. Li Xia, the woman who literally pulled her own daughter off a tree to save her son during the flood, had the audacity to lecture my mother about parenting. You can't ruin your daughter's future. A single mother will be gossiped about forever. No man will marry a divorced woman with a kid. Just let her go back to the city. Sure, Xiaoi chimed in. We women need men to survive. Life without a husband is impossible. And then Wang Qingqing, whose mouth was still swollen from the beating she got weeks ago, decided to weigh in too. Professor Qiao, you don't have a man either, and look at what your life is like. You're just being selfish, keeping your daughter around to earn work points. I wanted to throw something. Actually, I already threw a rock earlier. I wanted to throw something bigger. Every single person out there was saying the same thing. Go back. Forgive him. A woman needs a man. Think of the child. Marriage is more important than safety. Zhang's mother was beaming. The crowd was on her side. Zhang Jiawang was radiating confidence from his kneeling position like he'd already won. But they forgot one thing. The Jiang family doesn't break that easily. I took my sister's ice-cold hand. Sis, being pregnant isn't shameful. Being a mother is brave. Stop living inside other people's opinions. This life is yours. Shin Nana walked over, placed a hand on Ruodong's shoulder. Big sis, a man who hits you once will hit you 1,000 times. Don't go soft. Mom looked at her second daughter with eyes full of guilt and love. Baby, you have no reason to worry. If you don't want the baby, we'll handle it. If you do want it, you keep it. Mama can feed you both. You'll never go hungry. Family. Real family. Not the kind that trades daughters for peace, or pulls them off trees to save sons. The kind that says, whatever you choose, we've got you. My sister straightened up. Eyes red but clear. Voice steady. Jiang Ruochu, I'm not going back with you. This baby has nothing to do with you.
Leave.
I never want to see you again. Jiang Ruochu opened his mouth to argue. Farar. Bullet stepped forward with a snarl so terrifying that both Jiang Ruochu and his mother scrambled backward like startled chickens. Zhang's mother, retreating with maximum pettiness. Fine. You're all crazy. The woman, the family, even the dog. When you come begging at my door someday, I'll kick you out. She dragged her whimpering son away.
Mom.
But I want Ruodong. I want my baby. Calm down. She's carrying your child. It'll always be yours. She can't raise it alone. We'll deal with this after the baby's born. Her private calculation. If it's a girl, forget about it. Not worth the effort. If it's a boy, that child goes on the Jiang family register, whether the Jiangs like it or not. Even in defeat, this woman is scheming about property rights over an unborn baby based on its gender. She's consistent, I'll give her that. Consistently awful. On the train home, Zhang's mother decided to eat the fancy pastry gifts they'd brought since our family rejected them. Might as well not waste them. She opened the elegant box with maximum showmanship. All the passengers were staring, impressed by the fancy packaging. She hurled the box across the train car. Inside, a pile of bloody rabbit bones. Where pastries should have been. I may have switched the contents. When nobody was looking. Just a little creative repackaging. The rabbit bones were from our mountain feast, seemed like a waste to throw them away, you know? A random passenger picked up the box from the floor. What's the big deal? They're just rabbit bones. If you don't want them, I'll take them. These make great soup. Zhang's mother was hyperventilating. Jiang Ruochu jumped 3 feet in the air and wet himself. Full bladder release. In public. On a crowded train. Beijing people apparently don't eat rabbit, so they'd never seen one skeleton before. To them, it looked like a horror prop. Zhang's mother already has insomnia from nerve problems. Now she'll see rabbit bones every time she closes her eyes. Perfect. Sweet nightmares, old Jiang. But that wasn't the best part. I also forged a love letter in Jiang Ruochu's handwriting. I'm talented at mimicry. Addressed to his male boss at work. Specifically, explicitly, romantically. Before you worry about the innocent boss, this particular boss has been skimming disaster relief grain and taking bribes. He's going to prison eventually anyway. I'm just adding a little color to his downfall and destroying Jiang Ruochu's career and reputation in the process. That letter is about to go viral across Beijing. Back home, I was stirring red sugar water for my sister when I leaned down to Bullet. Can you tell if it's a boy or girl? Boy. You're sure? Positive. Since when can you determine fetal gender? A dog of many talents is never burdened by having too many skills. Qin Xiao, lying nearby, itchy all over from healing, good sign. Heard us having another full conversation. The man is now seriously questioning the nature of reality. Am I alive? Am I dead? Why is this girl talking to her dog? And why does the dog seem to be answering? Welcome to my world, soldier. It only gets weirder from here. Ru Ping stopped by to chat, mentioning that the village school is hiring teachers soon. 2 men, 2 women. Paid position, full work points, 5 yuan monthly bonus. Are you going to try? She asked me. Obviously. Teaching beats farming and pays better. The thing is, Ru Ping looked worried. Kang Sisi has connections to the brigade captain's family. His wife Xiui would definitely leak her the test questions. In this era, cheating on exams isn't just possible, it's practically expected. Leaked questions, stolen positions, people getting their spots taken after they've already passed. The system is as corrupt as the people running it. Mom pulled me aside after Ru Ping left. That girl used to trash talk you constantly. One rescue and she's suddenly loyal? Be careful. Don't worry, Mom. I know exactly what she is. And I know exactly what she's useful for. Ru Ping is my guided missile aimed at her father. When the time comes, she'll be the one to pull the trigger on Ru Xianghua. She just doesn't know it yet. Ruodong decided to keep the baby. The entire village thinks she's lost her mind. Unmarried, pregnant, no husband, ex-fiancé is an abuser. It's a social death sentence in this era. She knows. She knows all of it. And she's choosing this anyway. My position? I don't fully agree with the decision, but I understand it. She's an adult. Adults face consequences for their choices. My job isn't to choose for her. It's to make sure she survives whatever comes next. Meanwhile, at the brigade captain's house, a domestic war was erupting. Shi Xiui was trying to squeeze the exam questions out of her husband for Kang Sisi. That girl's great-great-grandma dream saved the village. You owe her. Share the questions. Captain Li Guozheng, lighting his pipe. I'm telling you right now, I am not touching those exam questions. Shi Xiui grabbed his EAR and twisted. I was blind marrying you. You won't even help family? What's the point of having authority if you don't use it for your own people? They went at it louder and louder until… knock knock. Someone at the door. Oh, I wonder who that could be? Perhaps someone with a vested interest in making sure the teacher exam stays fair? Someone who knows Kang Sisi has pre-memorized answers from a previous life? Perhaps someone who's about to ruin everyone's cheating plans with nothing but good timing and a polite knock? A just caller at me. So Kang Sisi went to the brigade captain's house to graciously tell them she doesn't need the exam questions leaked. She's that confident. Very noble. Very theatrical. Very, I already know all the answers from my past life, but let me pretend it's because I'm just naturally brilliant. Annie, don't worry about me. I'll pass on my own merits. Just watch. Shi Xiui was genuinely touched by her niece's integrity. Meanwhile, Captain Li was in the corner smoking his pipe, refusing to look at either of them, silently thanking whatever deity was listening that his wife's scheme had been shut down before it started. What Kang Sisi didn't say out loud, I literally memorized every question from my previous life. I could take this test blindfolded. The only person scoring as high as me will be Wang Qingqing, because I'm feeding her the answers too. First and second place are locked down. Wang Qingqing, by the way, has already mentally quit farming. She's been floating around the village like she's already been promoted, refusing to work properly, acting superior to everyone. Girl hasn't passed a single question yet, and she's already planning her retirement speech. That night, Kang Sisi stormed into the cowshed and basically attacked Lu Zekin. She wanted to assert her position as his wife. Multiple times. All night. Lu Zekin went along with it, but his brain was somewhere else entirely. Specifically, on me. Kang Sisi could feel his emotional absence. Every second of his distraction made her hate me more. I wasn't even in the room, and I was somehow ruining her evening. I'm living rent-free in this woman's rage, and honestly, the real estate is spacious. Also, Lu Zekin was lying awake afterward, replaying what Kang Sisi told him about his parents' death. She claimed they volunteered to give up their survival spot, so she could live. A beautiful, selfless sacrifice. Except, he knew his parents. They were many things. Selflessly noble was not one of them. Something didn't add up. The seeds of doubt were growing.
Good.
Let them sprout. Registration day for the teacher exam. I showed up and got in line. Kang Sisi was right behind me. Two women who technically haven't declared war, but are absolutely in one. The people behind us were whispering. What's even the point? Kang Sisi has connections to the brigade captain. It's rigged. If he leaks the questions, we all report him. Report to who? He's got people above him. Officials protect officials. So regular people like us just have no chance? Why even hold an exam if it's all predetermined? They were angry, defeated, hopeless, but still showing up. Because even a rigged game is better than not playing at all. Maybe. Hopefully. Please. Hearing their conversation triggered something in my brain. Kang Sisi didn't need leaked questions. She's a rebirther. She already took this test in her previous life. She knows every single answer because she memorized them after failing the first time. That's why she looked so smug this morning. Zero anxiety. Complete confidence. Not because she studied, because she cheated using time travel. Kang Sisi overheard the gossip and decided to do some PR damage control. You're all just jealous because you don't have connections like mine. Instead of gossiping, go study. I'm clean. I'm pure. Report me all you want. I don't care. I turned around, looked at her self-satisfied face and thought, this confident, huh? You're not even a little worried about crashing and burning? Oh, sweetheart. The higher you climb on that confidence ladder, the more spectacular the fall. Then Shun Xiao appeared with a gift I didn't expect. Comrade Jiang, I've written to my family about your family's exile. They're going to push for a reinvestigation. You might be able to return to Beijing sooner than you think. I kept my face neutral, but internally, fireworks. Shun Zhao's family must be powerful. You don't casually say, I'll get your exile overturned, unless you have serious connections. And he's doing this because I saved Li Wenxiu, his first love, the girl who was about to end her life the night I showed up. I saved a girl. The girl's boyfriend turned out to be a future investment tycoon from an elite family. And now that future tycoon is using his family's influence to free my family. Karma doesn't just come back around. Sometimes it comes back with compound interest. Kang Sisi heard every word. Her smug expression evaporated like morning dew. The Jiang family might go back to the city. While I'm stuck here. She tried to call out to Shun Xiao, Shun, but he walked right past her like she was a lamppost. Didn't even slow down. The woman's networking strategy just hit a brick wall at full speed. Wang Qingqing, never missing an opportunity to be awful, took a parting shot at me. You think you can pass the teacher exam? With your family's background? Even if you ace the test, the background check will disqualify you. Being exiled means you're politically tainted. She wasn't entirely wrong. There is a background review after the exam. Exiled families face restrictions. You can pass with perfect scores and still get rejected based on your political status. But Wang Qingqing delivered this information with the maximum possible smugness, so my response was calibrated accordingly. Maybe use your spare time to fix those missing teeth. It's not a great look. She lunged at me. Kang Sisi held her back. I walked away without looking back. Wang Qingqing then worried about Kang Sisi. Wait, you're exiled too. What about your background check? Don't worry about me. I have my ways. No, you don't, Kang Sisi. You just have confidence, which is not the same thing. But please, continue planning your victory celebration. I enjoy watching fireworks. On my way home, I passed the threshing yard where everyone was drying and shelling corn. Golden kernels everywhere, spread across the ground like a sea of sunshine. My whole family was working, mom, sis, Nana, everyone. I rolled up my sleeves and jumped in. Shelling, bagging, sorting. Hard work, honest work, the kind that makes your hands ache but your heart feel full. Then I spotted Ru Xianghua, lying on top of a corn pile, legs crossed, eyes closed, relaxing like he was at a resort while everyone else worked. His whole family except Ru Ping had basically stopped contributing. They think they've won. The fake notebook is in their hands. The mystery contact promised them a ticket back to the city, and they're already mentally sipping tea in Beijing. Celebrating at halftime, are we? Careful. This winter might be hungrier than you think. I walked over and nudged him with my elbow. Hey, Your Highness, you're lying on our corn. Scoot over. Just a casual, friendly little bump. Nothing suspicious. What nobody saw. While my elbow made contact, my other hand slipped something into his pocket. Something small. Something paper. My sister's love letter. The forged one that destroyed her marriage. The evidence that could trace back to whoever wrote it. I just planted it on Ru Xianghua.
Why?
Because when the time comes to investigate who framed my sister, this letter, found in the pocket of a known schemer with connections to Kang Sisi, will raise questions. Very uncomfortable questions. For all the right people. The evidence is placed. The trap is set. The dominoes are lined up. Now I just need someone to give them a push. And I know exactly who's going to do the pushing. So I figured out who wrote that fake love letter that destroyed my sister's marriage. It was Kang Sisi. How do I know? Because during exam registration, I accidentally caught a glimpse of her handwriting, and it was identical to the letter. Fun fact about me. In my previous life, I was a Special Forces police officer. Faces, clothing, handwriting, I remember everything after one look. It's not a party trick. It's a professional hazard that I now use for personal vengeance. Very efficient career transition. Combined with what I know from the original novel, there's literally nobody else who would forge a love letter to frame my sister. Kang Sisi wrote it, planted it, and watched from the shadows as my sister's life fell apart. And now that letter is sitting in Ru Xianggua's pocket, waiting to blow up at the most inconvenient moment for everyone involved. Back at the threshing yard, everyone was shelling corn and minding their business when Ru Ping bounced over to me with all the subtlety of a golden retriever. Ruochu, you registered too? I just know you'll pass. That teaching job has your name on it. Girl. You're saying this loudly in front of dozens of competitive, anxious people who are also trying to get the same job. You might as well paint a target on my back and hand out arrows. Wang Qingqing overheard immediately, pointing at herself and Kang Sisi. Open your eyes, dog face. The future teachers are right here. Ru Ping, who, whatever her faults, has never backed down from a fight, dropped her corn and fired back. Oh, really? Someone with your manners wants to teach children? You'd corrupt them by day 2. And you, Kang Sisi, let me guess, your great-great-grandma dreamed you'd pass the exam too? The crowd loved it. People were shelling corn and giggling, thoroughly entertained. Nothing beats live drama during manual labor. A Kang Sisi supporter spoke up. Hey, don't disrespect Kang Sisi. Her great-great-grandma's dream saved the village. Ru Ping whipped around. That's bull. It was Jiang Ruochu who told everyone to go to the mountain. If she hadn't, you'd be dead right now. Kang Sisi just said, put grain in storehouses, and those storehouses got flooded. The village had officially split into 2 factions, Team Jiang and Team Kang. Like rival fan clubs, except instead of arguing about pop stars, they were arguing about whose apocalypse prediction deserved more credit. The yelling escalated until people were reaching for farming tools. We were approximately 15 seconds from a full threshing yard brawl when Captain Li Guozheng bellowed, do you all want to starve this winter? Our village's reputation is already garbage. Stop fighting and shell corn. Silence. For exactly 3 seconds. Then someone piped up. Captain, we object to the land you approved for the Jiang family's new house. Yeah, that's a Feng Shui treasure spot. Everyone knows it. If they build there, it'll curse the entire village. We won't allow it. I slowly put down my corn cob and looked toward the voices. Every single objector was from Team Kang. And Kang Sisi herself was standing there with a smile she couldn't quite suppress. So this was her new scheme. Can't beat me on merit?
Can't leak exam answers?
Fine. Just convince the entire village that my building site is supernaturally cursed and rally public opinion against my family having a roof over our heads. Captain Li was having none of it. That is feudal superstition. Where did you even hear this nonsense? Then an elderly villager shuffled forward from the crowd, the kind of old person whose age alone commands respect. Young Li, I've been alive longer than you. When I was small, someone built on that exact spot. From the moment construction started, every family in the village had disasters. They had to tear the whole house down. I looked at this elderly person and thought, how much did Kang Sisi pay you to drag yourself all the way to the threshing yard and deliver this speech? The crowd erupted. Our lives matter too. Don't let the Jiang family build there. They can't be so selfish. Sacrificing the whole village for one house, Kang Sisi had weaponized the great-great-grandma dream again. She'd been telling people she had another dream. Grandma said the land was cursed. Building there would bring catastrophe to everyone. And because she predicted the flood correctly once, people now believed literally anything she attributed to Ghost Grandma. One correct prediction and she's basically established a religion. I dusted off my hands calmly. Let me guess, Comrade Kang's great-great-grandma said this too? Everyone turned to look at Kang Sisi. She put on her best wide-eyed innocent face. The one I'm starting to think she practices in a mirror. My great-great-grandma did tell me. Believe it or don't, that's up to you. Brilliant deflection. She drops the bomb and makes the audience responsible for the explosion. Classic manipulation. The mob was firmly on her side. My house, my winter shelter, my family's survival, all being blocked because a reborn con artist is cosplaying as a spiritual medium. Time to push back. Did your great-great-grandma also tell you how you'd die if I build this house? Kang Sisi's spine visibly stiffened. I stepped closer. You keep dragging your ancestor out of her grave to run errands for you. Be careful. One day she might actually show up to collect. Kang Sisi stumbled backward, genuinely frightened by the look in my eyes. Whatever she saw there wasn't the naive city girl she thought she was dealing with. Her supporters rushed to shield her. Don't worry, Kang Sisi. We believe you. That house will not be built. She hid behind them, playing scared, but inside, she was thriving. Mission accomplished. The village was blocking my construction. I'd be stuck in a leaking, half-destroyed house through winter while she sat in her cow shed congratulating herself. Her internal logic. In my last life, I suffered in a crumbling house while Jiang Ruochu lived comfortably. Now she gets to experience the same thing. Fair is fair. Fair?
Fair?
You think cosmic justice means making me freeze because you had a bad first life? A life that, by the way, was ruined by your own terrible choices? But I couldn't explode. Not here.
Not now.
The crowd was against me. Emotions were running high, and any aggressive move would just prove their point about the Jiang family being selfish. I needed a different approach. A smarter one. Something that would make this superstition argument collapse on its H. A piercing scream cut through the threshing yard, and every single head snapped toward the sound.
Oh.
What's this now? Something just happened. Something dramatic. Something that's about to shift the entire conversation away from cursed land and ghost grandmas. I didn't plan this interruption, but I'll absolutely use it. Everyone rushed toward the scream like moths to a flame. Because in Pear Tree Village, a scream isn't an emergency. It's a premiere. Mom had fallen. Hard. She was walking toward me when her foot slipped on something, and she instinctively threw her right hand down to catch herself. The impact traveled straight up her arm, and her forearm near the wrist twisted into an S shape. An actual S. Like the letter. Like a snake. Her bone was doing calligraphy under her skin. Everyone stared in horrified silence. Nobody spoke for a solid 10 seconds. Even the corn shelling stopped. I crouched down and assessed the damage with my trained eye. Distal radius and ulna fracture. Both bones snapped near the wrist. Millimeters from being an open fracture, which would have meant bone outside the skin. We got lucky. If you can call a double fracture lucky. Then I caught it. A brief, subtle exchange of glances across the crowd. Kang Sisi nodded at Ru Xianghua. A tiny, grateful nod. And he acknowledged it with the faintest flicker of his eyes before they both looked away. He scattered corn kernels on the ground. That's what Mom slipped on. He did it while nobody was watching. Kang Sisi asked for the favor. Ru Xianghua delivered. 1. Saved from a cabinet. Debt. Now repaid with my mother's broken arm. These two are trading injuries as currency. She freed him from my cabinet, so he broke my mother's bones as payment. What kind of psychotic economy is this? But I couldn't prove it. No evidence.
No witnesses.
Just a look between two terrible people and a pile of corn kernels that could have been there naturally. Filed away. I'll deal with you both. Just not today. The vultures descended immediately. One villager, hyperventilating with excitement. This is exactly. It's. Wang Qingqing helpfully finishing the thought. The house isn't even built yet. They just got the land approved, and already someone in their family got hurt. If this doesn't prove the curse is real, what does? Thank God it was their own family member and not one of us. I need to get on my knees and worship Kang Sisi's great-great-grandma. She's a prophet. Captain, do you believe now? My mother is lying on the ground with a broken arm, and these people are using it as evidence for their superstition argument. Her pain is their proof. Her suffering is their vindication. I was tending to Mom, but I heard every word. And when I looked up and saw Kang Sisi's face, that barely suppressed smile, that gleam of triumph, that small person who just scored a big win expression, I felt something cold settle in my chest. This account is not closed, Kang Sisi. Not even close. Captain Lee, bless his materialist heart, refused to engage with the superstition crowd. I'm not discussing fairy tales. How do we get her to a hospital? The donkey cart is lent to the next village. The medic is doing rotations elsewhere. Here's the thing. In my previous life, I was special forces. We got injured all the time. I learned to set bones on myself, on teammates, in the field, without equipment. Fracture reduction is literally in my skill set. But I needed a second pair of hands. I looked around. Shanana was shaking so hard she was useless. Mom was barely conscious from pain. That left. Sis, I need you. Help me hold Mom's upper arm steady. Ruochu was scared, sweat pouring down her face, but she was the calmest person available. She nodded and got into position. The peanut gallery had opinions, naturally. She's going to set bones? A girl? She'll make it worse. Since when does a teenage city girl know orthopedics? Ru Xianghua, oozing smug malice. Look at her playing doctor. No men in the family, no backbone, no authority. A little girl pretending to do bone setting? She'll cripple her own mother. Just go to the hospital like normal people. If I wasn't busy saving my mother's arm, I would have thrown a corn cob at his head. Instead, I filed his comment under things that will make his eventual downfall more satisfying. Captain Lee couldn't even look at Mom's arm. The S shape was too much for him. I'll go get the donkey cart from the next village. No need, Captain. I've got this. Going to the hospital would mean a 3-hour round trip minimum, if the cart was even there. Hours of bumpy road travel with an unreduced fracture. Mom was already on the verge of passing out from pain. Baby, go ahead. Mama trusts you. Mom's voice was thin as paper, but her eyes were steady. I took a deep breath, gripped her hand, palm down. Traction first, then alignment. The crowd went silent. Some couldn't watch and turned away. The sound of bones sliding back into position isn't something you forget. The entire procedure took maybe 3 minutes. When I let go, Mom's arm was straight. Normal shape. No more S. Mom didn't scream once. She bit down so hard her jaw muscles were visibly straining, but not a single sound escaped her lips. That's my mother. Tougher than anyone in this village will ever know. That it's straight? It's fixed. She actually did it? A city girl can set bones. Ru Ping, triumphant. Told you she could do it. Kang Sisi and Ru Xianghua looked at each other across the crowd with matching expressions of disbelief. They'd orchestrated a fall to humiliate my family and weaponize superstition. Instead, I turned it into a public demonstration of medical competence. They wanted people to see my family as cursed and helpless. Instead, people saw me perform emergency orthopedic surgery with my bare hands in a cornfield. Not exactly the narrative they were going for. Captain Lee was practically bouncing. Comrade Jiang, you can do this? From now on, if anyone in this village breaks a bone, we're coming to you. But because this village can never let me have a full victory, someone still brought it back to the house. Comrade Jiang, maybe still reconsider the building site? Today was a warning. Some things can't be explained. I know exactly what can't be explained. How corn kernels appeared under my mother's feet at the perfect moment. That's the mystery here. Not some ghost grandma's architectural opinions. But I need proof. I need to demolish the great-great-grandma myth completely. And for that, I looked at Bullet. One glance. That's all it took. He understood immediately. Tail up, eyes sharp. Mission accepted. Ru Xianghua decided this was a good time to leave. Started backing away from the crowd. Just casually, just quietly, just... A voice boomed across the threshing yard, stopping him in his tracks. Something tells me Ru Xianghua's exit strategy just got cancelled. And whatever Bullet is about to do, it's going to be spectacular. So, remember how Ru Xianghua scattered corn kernels on the ground to trip my mother? Beautiful plan. Flawless execution. One broken arm, massive PR win for Team Kong, superstition levels at an all-time high. Ru Xiongwa decided his work here was done and turned to leave. He stepped on his own corn kernels. The same ones. The exact same corn kernels he scattered to trip my mother.
Still on the ground.
Still slippery. Still doing their job just for the wrong person this time.
He went down. Hard.
Right hand hit the ground first, same as Mom, but he also landed on his tailbone. The man was paralyzed on the ground, couldn't move, couldn't breathe properly, lying there in a puddle of his own karma. I didn't do this. Bullet didn't do this. The universe just
handled it.
Sometimes revenge outsources itself. Old Ru, how did you fall? Are you okay? The villagers collectively gasped and froze. Nobody dared move. They were all thinking the same thing. The curse is real. First Xiao Shufang, now Ru Xiongwa. Who's next? Comrade Kang, did your great-great-grandma say how to break this curse? This is terrifying. The superstition panic was reaching fever pitch. People were genuinely afraid to walk. Captain Li Guozheng, desperate to maintain rational thought in a village of panicking farmers. Everyone calm down. These are accidents. Coincidences. I refuse to entertain this nonsense. And you know what? I dare the next person to get hurt. Bold move, Captain. Bold move. Kang Sisi, maintaining character with zero shame. My great-great-grandma says everything will be fine as long as the Jiang family doesn't build on that land. Captain Li had officially had enough. The land is approved. The house gets built. I'll help them build it myself after harvest. The crowd was shook. Li Xia was on her knees wailing over Ru Xiongwa. Old Ru, say something. If you die, what will I do? He knocked the wind out of himself so badly, he nearly blacked out. Lying there, mouth open, gasping like a fish on dry land. Li Xia turned to me with desperate eyes. Ruochu, save him. Like you saved your mother. Please. Ru Ping opened her mouth to say, don't save him. I beat her to it. Your uncle? Who's my uncle? My uncle is in Beijing. Don't go claiming relatives I don't have. Can't help. Go to the hospital. Li Xia knew exactly why I refused. Ru Xiongwa had just stood there mocking me while I treated my mother. No men in the family, no backbone, a little girl playing doctor, and now he wanted my services? She swallowed her rage and begged. Ruochu, we came to Pear Tree Village together. That bond should mean something. How can you watch him suffer? Some helpful villager. Comrade Jiang, what's wrong with you? He said a few mean words, and you hold a grudge? You just let him lie there. Wang Qingqing adding fuel. No moral compass at all. And she wants to be a teacher? She'd raise a generation of psychopaths. Ru Ping, defending me like a guard dog. A few words? That man mocked her while her mother was in agony. Easy to talk when it's not your family. Hypocrites, every single one of you. I didn't flinch. Don't bother trying to guilt trip me. I have no guilt to trip. I freely admit I'm not generous enough for this, and nobody can make me. When I become a teacher, I'll teach my students that kindness is reserved for people who deserve it. Ru Xiongwa made my mother fall.
He knows what he did.
And he expected me to fix him afterward? Sir, you broke the doctor, and then asked her for surgery. Read the room. That's right.
No rescue.
Let's go. Shanana gave Ru Xiongwa one last contemptuous glare as we helped Mom walk away. We made it exactly 2 steps.
Crash.
A massive tree behind the crowd, weakened by the flood, roots rotted by insects, chose that exact moment to topple. It slammed into the ground right where dozens of people had been standing moments earlier. If Mom hadn't fallen, the crowd wouldn't have gathered to watch. And when that tree came down, people would have been under it. Dead silence. Then Captain Li, voice quiet but carrying. Does anyone still want to tell me that the Jiang family building a house will bring disaster to this village? Mom's fall saved lives. The curse that was supposed to prove we were dangerous actually proved we were a blessing. The tree would have crushed people if they hadn't moved to watch the commotion. Team Kang's superstition argument just collapsed like a rotten tree. Back at the station, I splinted Mom's arm with a thin wooden board and a cloth sling since we had no plaster. But it wasn't ideal. Repeated movement could shift the bones and cause them to heal crooked. Then Bullet trotted in carrying an aluminum lunchbox, full of yellow clay. I had just been thinking I needed yellow clay to make a traditional substitute for plaster, mixed with egg whites and bone-setting herb juice. And my dog walked in with exactly that. Without me saying a word. Does this dog read minds? Is that another one of his many talents? I rubbed his head silently. Couldn't say thank you out loud with the family watching. Ru Xianghua ended up being carried to the station on a wooden plank, looked like a funeral procession, honestly. If someone had laid a white cloth over him, the neighbors would have started burning spirit money. The donkey cart finally came back from the other village, and Li Xia and Ru Dong rushed Ru Xianghua to the hospital. The young doctor there was inexperienced and had to attempt bone setting multiple times. Ru Xianghua nearly passed out from pain repeatedly. No plaster available, so they used traditional methods, the same thing I did for Mom, but with less skill and more screaming. The hospital visit drained all of Ru Xianghua's savings. His one remaining hope, that the person who received the fake notebook would come through on their promise to get the family reinstated. Good luck with that, buddy. That notebook has wrong numbers in every calculation. Whoever tries to use it is going to have a very bad time. When he got home, he discovered his last chicken had been eaten by Ru Ping, who cooked the entire thing while the family was at the hospital, specifically targeting the drumsticks and wings, the pieces she'd never been allowed to eat because they always went to Dad and brother. She even brought half to my family. For Auntie Qiao's recovery, Shen Nana was shocked. Your parents will kill you when they find out. Ru Ping was grinning like a woman reborn. They can beat me. I already ate it.
Ha ha ha.
Nobody can eat a chicken. I love the new Ru Ping. She finally understands. When you stop needing people's approval, you stop being their prisoner. Why spend your whole life asking, why don't they love me, when you can just
Stop asking.
leave the question behind. Take the chicken drumstick. Live free. That night, every room in the station had oil lamps burning. Everyone was cramming for tomorrow's exam, including Kang Sisi, who was trying to tutor Wang Qingqing with the pre-memorized answers. And it was going terribly.
Gao Gao Sha Shan Es Gao Pi.
Liu Bei's son is called what? Wang Qingqing, writing confidently. Liu Pai. Kang Sisi's brain nearly hemorrhaged. Fill in the blank. Big, thick. My poop is thick. Kang Sisi ripped the paper in half. 9 times 9 is 45. This woman was given the actual answers, literally handed the cheat sheet on a silver platter, and she still can't get them right. She's getting wrong answers to questions she was given the right answers to. That takes a special kind of talent. An anti talent. Kang Sisi was spiraling. Her master plan was, we both score perfect, lockdown first and second place, but her partner's reading comprehension is at approximately goldfish level, and the exam is tomorrow. She can ace it herself. But if Wang Qingqing crashes and burns, which she absolutely will, that opens a slot. A slot that someone like, say, me could fill.
Sweet dreams, Kang Sisi.
Tomorrow is going to be fun.